Yes. It's Raphie Dawkins with the Combat Radio. Okay, almost forgot how to start the show, but it's okay now. We are good and we are alive. Okay, let's level up the mic. Let's level up the mic a little bit. Okay, it's a Monday. Some people talk about the Monday morning blues. I don't have the Monday morning blues because I know come Monday evening, we are live on Boxing Talk with Raphie, 207. Yeah, we're moving along. That's not all the live shows. That's just the Boxing Talk with Raphie shows. There's probably another 100 live shows. So we're probably looking at more like altogether, probably about 310 live shows all together. Okay, let's level up the screen. How are we going to start this shiznix? Well, obviously, we all know that it was the Anthony Joshua. It's Oluwafemi week. Iron Kong up in the building. It's the Ruben Guerrero up in the building. And I know how we're going to start the show. We're going to talk about Oluwafemi a lot during the show, but we're going to start it off slightly different. The first topic is going to be, well, I'll play the video and let you decide. I'm saying 50-50 first fight, 60-40 winner of the second fight. Yeah. That's pretty standard. That's the arrangement that they had with the second Wilder fight. Hold on, was that the second Wilder fight? No, I think it was still pretty much 50-50 for the second fight, but the third Wilder fight, it would be, what, 60 for the winner, 40 for the loser, something like that. Big Femi put that beat down on Pulev. Dang. John Daly up at these hours. Damn, I thought he was sleeping for the night shift. I don't know what's going on. Okay. We're going to warm into that, but first things first, I want to talk about there's a bit of a hypocritical. I don't even want to say that. I'm going to play the video and let you people be the judge. You decide. Okay, let me line this thing up just a little bit. What is it? What do I want to do? What am I trying to do? Where are we? Okay. Boom. Okay, so this is how we're starting. We're starting off with the Terence Crawford thing, and then we're going to move into the Oluwafemi thing. Okay, let's drop that. We'll accept 50. Will Femi accept 50%? Yeah. What's his name? His promoter. What's that guy's name? Eddie Hearn. Damn. Eddie Hearn has said, yeah, it would be 50-50. Not for long, ref, but repping Femi today. Not sure I'll make it past the warming. No problem. I suspected as much. I suspected you'd be on a tight schedule. I'd anticipated that. So cool and the gang. Well, it's unfortunate that I'm starting off the show with the Errol Spence situation. That I want to talk at Terence Crawford, Errol Spence. That's how we're starting the show today. Although, yeah, I'm perplexed because everybody wants to go with the Joshua thing. It's clear everybody wants to go with the Joshua thing, but still, I gotta stick to the plan. I'll stick to the plan. Tempting though it is to vary from it. Okay.
Okay. But that fight not gonna happen because he already talking 60-40 deal. And if it ain't 60-40 in my favor, then that fight is not gonna happen. Period. Okay. You know what I mean? Like I didn't accomplish way more than he accomplished in his little career. You know what I mean? So I don't care. I really like I told people, I really don't care if that fight happens or not. No more. Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's the Raphie Dawkins with the Combat Radio. And interesting interview. I just stumbled across. Don't know who it's by. Posted up on Twitter. But Terence Crawford has some interesting things to say about the Errol Spence situation. Okay, so going to Terence Crawford, Errol Spence. Errol Spence is talking about 60-40 in his favor, Errol's favor. And Terence Crawford ain't having it. Terence Crawford's point is that he is the more accomplished boxer. And when you take a look at Terence Crawford's record, I would have to concur, from winning World Lightweight Championship, then moving up to Junior Welterweight, winning that, and becoming unified champion at Junior Welterweight before moving up and becoming the World Welterweight Champion, WBL. And with fights like Jeff Hearn, Jose Benavides, Amir Khan, Kavalaskas. His record and performances have put him up at, some people consider, #1 pound for pound, champion of the world. Okay, but let's listen to what. So Terence Crawford is basically saying, no, I ain't having it. You know what I mean? 50-50 at least. And if it's going to be 60-40, then it would need to be in my favor. Let's listen to the words of Terence Crawford more.
I used to be all up on that fight, you know what I mean? But the way things have been going these last couple of years, it just rubbed off on me. I don't care about it anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? If we fight, we fight. If we don't, we don't. I'm not the one that is the reason why it didn't happen. And I'm not the one that they say, oh, well, you need Spence. Why would I need Spence? Why would I need Spence?
Okay, so with Spence, we talk of Spence moving up to fight Canelo, and talk that Canelo is interested in the Errol Spence fight. It's looking less and less likely that fight happens. And if that fight doesn't happen, who do you hold responsible? It would seem to me it's a natural fit. It would seem to me that both parties would be looking to become undisputed, like Terence Crawford has done before the junior welterweight. So it would seem that the natural move that both fighters would move towards fighting each other, thus the winner becoming undisputed welterweight champion. But it seems like one of these guys don't want the fight as much as the other guy. The question is, who is the one that wants the fight least? It's a vexing question. And does Errol Spence really want to fight Terence Crawford? It's a quick one. It's a brain teaser. What say you? It's the Raphie Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. It's the like. It's the subscribe. It's the comments. It's the shares. And it is the hitting that bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. Don't forget about the live show. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. And if you want my point of view on fights, I unfortunately think it's Errol that doesn't want the fight. I think Terence Crawford beats Errol Spence. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So that was a roundabout way of starting the show. It ties back in with the weekend's action. It ties back in with Anthony Joshua. Okay, what's going on here? Spence, quack. Okay, the link is in the chat. Is it? Yeah, it's right there. Okay. Okay, so here's a question. Here's a puzzling question. Let me turn myself up in the cans. Here's a puzzling question for Mike. Spence, we're talking about percentages. We're talking about percentages. We're talking about percentage splits, and percentage splits have already come up in this chat. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Well, Femi accept 50%. Oh, there it is. Okay, Ruben Guerrero wrote. Aaron was saying 50-50 first fight, 60-40 for the winner of the second fight. Yeah. Okay, that's we're talking about Joshua versus Fury. But that 50-50 thing, the reason I started the show this way was for a specific reason. And it's because with the Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford situation, we have a situation where Terence Crawford, Errol Spence is saying, well, it's 50-50 in my favor. I mean, 60-40 in my favor. That's how we're going to do it, 60-40. And some of my American brethren, I was on a show a couple of weeks ago, and some of my American brethren were quite comfortable. They were quite comfortable with Terence or Errol Spence saying that he wanted 60-40 or no fight. But I had to remind them. I had to say double standards. I had to remind them. I had to say, hold on a second. How are you justifying this 60-40 in Errol Spence's favor? How are you justifying that? And they said, well, you know, he's the unified. Errol Spence is the unified. I said, yeah. And Terence Crawford has only got one belt. And I said, oh, so he's only due 40% for the one belt guy and 60% for the unified guy. And I said, double standards. Don't you see the double standards? When it was Oluwafemi versus Wilder, people were up in arms. People were saying, no, 50-50. No, 50-50. So explain to me. We're going to move into the Joshua thing, but explain where we are. Explain to me how it's okay for Errol Spence to get 60% and Terence Crawford 40% when we're talking about the Oluwafemi versus Wilder situation. It had to be 50-50. Makes sense. Somebody make that make sense to me. I don't get it. Errol Spence v. Terence Crawford, 60-40 or no fight. Oluwafemi Joshua versus Wilder was said it had to be 50-50, but yet we had the same equation. A unified champ versus a one belt champ. So somebody, please, make that make sense to me. How does that work? Tuned in, listening, and representing. Pablo Diablo up in the building. Femi devalues the belts. Okay. Crazy. Totally and utterly crazy. That makes no sense whatsoever. If somebody can help me understand how that makes sense, or is that just plain straight up double standards? Because that's what it looks like to me. Plain straight up double standards. It ain't good. It's not a good look. Okay, I'll leave that out in the air. As a matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat, let me share this shiznix. And perhaps let me drop that down just a little bit, and perhaps someone can come in and educate me. Let me do the sound check. That's what it looks like to me. Perhaps someone can come in and educate me as how that makes any sense whatsoever. Okay, let me share this shizzle into the secret society. And perhaps someone will be able to furnish me with an answer to the most vexing of questions. Okay, let's copy this. Let's paste this and let's share this. What's this here? Okay, let's share that. Boom. I just heard a pop. Be with you right in a second. Let's share this there. Pop. And let's share this. Let's share this here. Pop. Okay, I think that's shared in enough places. Let's get back into the chat and see who's joining me. And it's none other than John D. Lee. John D. Lee, how do you do?
Yeah, good, thanks, Ralph.
That's good, man. That's good. That's good that you could join us at this this kind of time frame. I know you're kind of strapped for time.
It's probably unwise, but you know.
John D. Lee is excited. John D. Lee is excited at the weekend's occurrences, weekend's happenings. Tell us about it, John. Tell us about it. Share it. Share it.
Well, I'm going to start off in an unlikely place, Ralph.
Okay, we'll start where you want to start, mate. Start where
Lawrence Coley.
Okay, let's go.
On your platform, describing Lawrence as having a jab, like a blind man reaching for a light switch in the dark. Lawrence must have been listening.
He must have been. I told you.
Lawrence has rectified that jab.
Yeah.
And now he looks like a problem.
All of a sudden, I mean, Lawrence Coley, like you said.
I know what the difference is. I know what the difference is.
Shane McGuigan. Shane McGuigan.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
Shane McGuigan's the difference. Lawrence Coley was somewhat. No. Mr. Wackface has not come back to pay his debts. I'm expecting him here today to pay up. Wackface, present yourself and, get that super chat in there. You had a bet, honor the bet, Mr. Yakface. Okay, so, the difference is Shane McGuigan. Lawrence Coley, someone that I always avoided. Horrible spectacle, horrible to watch. Has zero interest in him. To be honest with you, I always avoided his fights. But switching with Shane McGuigan, I knew was a great move. Shane McGuigan's probably got to be the young trainer for back-to-back 2019 and 2020. What he's done with remember he's had Josh Taylor since he was for all of his professional career, and he guided Josh Taylor to unified lightweight champion. So Shane McGuigan is definitely a top trainer. He definitely has a boxing brain. He definitely knows how to train boxers for the better. And what he's done with Lawrence Coley in a few short months is absolutely spectacular, to the point where I can say now I can see myself becoming a Lawrence Coley fan. John D. Lee.
Well, I'm on board because he's done what I wanted him to do. He's always had a good backhand, but if your jab's no good, how are you going to land your backhand? Yeah. And the other thing with Lawrence is, I'm not a fan of watching wrestling in a boxing ring. No. And the best way to keep somebody from getting inside your big long reach when you're built like Lawrence, is a jab to the chest. He was jabbing body and head. It wasn't just that he had a stiff jab. He was going up and down with it. And I like it when I see that going up and down. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Upstairs, downstairs, upstairs, downstairs. Mr. Colt says, AJ looked good. I didn't like his comments after the fight about trying to unify the belts. What comment in particular did you not like? Yes, Mr. Yakface is pigeon. So next time pigeon comes around, he'll have to weigh in. Mate. You can't come around. You say he was better than Pulev. I listened to it while I was at work in the morning after the show.
Yeah.
And it's just reminding
Yakface. Mr. Yakface is pigeon.
Do you mind if I mention another platform, Raphie?
Carry on.
Hatman has done a video for people like Pigeon.
Uh-oh.
It explains why people have this irrational fear of Anthony Joshua or hatred.
Wow, yeah.
And in that video, he explains to these men that AJ isn't going to come down the chimney and steal their wife. OMG. Yeah, the Anthony Joshua
Yeah, the Anthony Joshua, the issues surrounding Anthony Joshua. Where's Mr. Coates? There's Mr. Coates. AJ looked good. I didn't like his comments after the fight about trying to unify the belts. What in specifically, what did you not like? Pulev was a dead man after the third. Took Femi 6 more rounds to out away the stiff European. The stiff European who has not lost to anyone not named Vladimir Klitschko. Well, if you're so stiff, how come people didn't scalp him then? Hello, who is this?
Yes, Raphie, blessed. Man.
Hey, Kong, you had me tricked there. I didn't know who it was. I thought it might have been Pigeon. I thought we were having pigeon pie for dinner tonight.
No, I'm not holding them pigeon, but yeah, this is all our family week. What up, John Dealey?
Good evening, Icon.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So good to have you both up in here. Okay, so let's get into it. So first of all, John, they're trying to defame Kubrat Pulev. Trying to say that trying to diminish Joshua's accomplishment in taking him out in 9 when no one else has done that, not named Vladimir Klitschko.
Well, they've got to find something, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if he'd have taken him out too quickly, I'm sure we'd be hearing about how he hadn't learned his lesson from the Andy Ruiz fight, and he's lucky that Pulev can't punch. I mean, he cannot do right for doing wrong. And it's the double standard that he's held to.
Double standards.
Did we hear all this when Fury had his face busted up by Otto Wallin?
I don't think we did.
You know, what about when Deontay Wilder got buzzed by Eric Molina in the 3rd round and it took him till 9 to clean out Eric Molina? Yeah. I'm pretty certain the first combination that AJ opened up on Molina, he just went down.
Yeah.
With 2 feeling out rounds, first sort of combination, that was it. Blew him away.
Yeah. 100%.
Double standards all the time. And styles make fights.
Yeah.
So maybe AJ's style is better suited to Molina, to beat Molina, than Wilder's is. They both knocked him out.
Yeah. Iron Kong.
Yes, sir.
They're diminishing Kubrat Pulev now as a way of diminishing Anthony Joshua's accomplishment in taking out and finishing a man who had never been finished by someone not named Vladimir Klitschko.
Oh, don't mind them people, man. I mean, you know, sodium intake is a very dangerous thing. You know, they got to mind the, blood pressure. Look here.
Yeah.
Kubrat Pulev, I've already put up Kubrat Pulev's record.
Yeah.
As compared to Deontay Wilder's best win, which is Luis Ortiz. And Kubrat Pulev has a better career than Luis Ortiz. Okay?
He's also more successful amateur as well.
That's what I'm saying. So basically, Kubrat Pulev has had a more decent pro record than Luis Ortiz. And he has a much more illustrious amateur record than Luis Ortiz.
Yeah.
Okay? Kubrat Pulev is better than Otto Wallin. Okay? Clearly. All these people who are talking about Kubrat Pulev is this and Kubrat Pulev is that, I think John Dealey is correct. I mean, Anthony Joshua can't win for these people. If the referee had stopped the fight like how I thought he was supposed to stop the fight in the 3rd round, when a man turned his back twice and run to the corner turnbuckle and put up earmuffs.
Yeah.
If Anthony Joshua had won it then he's a bum. This guy is this and this guy is that. Anthony Joshua, can't win for these people. I honestly don't think these people are even actually trying to give Anthony Joshua a fair shake. They've made up in their mind that Anthony Joshua is trash.
Yeah.
They're probably Fury fans who don't understand that Tyson Fury turned down the opportunity to fight Anthony Joshua before Deontay Wilder. He could have signed with Eddie Hearn. His father said he preferred the route that Eddie Hearn had towards Anthony Joshua. Is more money, more prestige. And Tyson Fury said no to go fight Deontay Wilder. After he drew Deontay Wilder, he had an opportunity to fight. He was offered 60-40 to fight Anthony Joshua in Wembley. Him and Frank Warren said it's a derisive offer. How dare that? You know what I mean? Okay, cool, no problem. So let's not act like Tyson Fury has not had every opportunity to fight Anthony Joshua. He turned the opportunities down to go cherry pick the most technically deficient heavyweight in the game today, Deontay Wilder. These people are salty. I can't help them. All I could ask them to do is drink more water to maybe dilute some of that sodium. It's bad for them.
They might want to see a physician as well, because you're right.
Go and see your local physician, please. Haters, hater alert. Please go and see your local physician. Your salt intake is perilously high. Okay, so what's this here? Pulev was dead man. Oh, I read that one. Femi is a jacked up weightlifter. Well, that's interesting.
Has Caldwell ever actually watched any boxing from the 50s?
That's a good
have you seen a guy called Cleveland Williams Caldwell? You know, it is possible to develop an impressive physique from boxing alone.
Right.
Hitting the heavy bag. Old school heavyweights didn't have these big beer bellies that we see on certain boxers today, because they used to train.
Perhaps Caldwell prefers these heavyweights with beer bellies. Maybe he was a fan of David. What was he? David Bay.
I think he likes Butterbean, Raphie.
Butterbean better still. Yeah. Caldwell, Kanani. Obviously prefers his heavyweights with a fuller figure. Let's have a look at
he likes the voluptuous ones.
He likes the more Kanani likes the more voluptuous heavyweight. He likes them with the hourglass figure, with the fuller figure with the love handles. They ain't got love handles, they're not proper heavyweights, according to Kanani. Okay, Mr. Coates, when he was asked about Tyson Fury and he didn't want to answer directly, that should be the main fight. How many times? I'll regulate my tone. How many times has Joshua said in recent weeks that he wants and in recent months that he wants the full set of belts, and he wants to fight the holder of the WBC belt. Tried it with Wilder. They didn't want to know. They ran away from the biggest money they will ever see. And there's only one guy left. That's Fury. So he wants to get Fury in the ring ASAP. How many times has he said that in the preceding months? What did he say? What did he say in the press conference or in the interview directly after the fight? He said, "Whoever's got the WBC strap, that's the guy he wants." So how much more clearer did you want it to be? How much more? Who is the WBC belt holder? I'll give you a clue. It's Tyson Fury. Okay, so Tyson Fury is the WBC belt holder. So if he wants to fight the holder of the WBC belt, then clearly that's Tyson Fury. Or if Tyson Fury hasn't got it anymore, then it will be Deontay Wilder. I don't know how much more clearer he could have made it. Iron Kong, how much more clearer could he have been?
Yeah, don't mind them people, man. Them people I play deaf. Look, Anthony Joshua has been consistent years back when Wilder had the belt. Mm-hmm. He said one time, Deontay Wilder wants to personalize this WBC belt thing. But this ain't about Deontay. This is about the WBC belt. Whoever has that belt is who he wants to fight. He's been saying that for years. Mm-hmm. That's why he sent offers to Deontay Wilder. He has said he wants to fight Tyson Fury. But these people are so much fanboys that they want Tyson Fury to get free publicity off of Anthony Joshua's night. That's the problem, you know.
Hold on a second. Didn't Tyson Fury receive an invite to go to the fight and declined?
Yeah. He said he don't want to be famous. He ain't want to be no star and all of that. But somehow Anthony Joshua on his night where he found money to get him and Kubrat Pulev in a ring, where Tyson Fury's team couldn't find money to get him and Ajit Kabayel in a ring. And Anthony Joshua's night, he's supposed to just be like Tyson Fury. No. This is Anthony Joshua's night. He wants to fight the WBC belt holder. And if that is not good enough for you, then that's your problem.
Yeah. John Dealey, how much more clearer could Anthony Joshua have been in the post?
I'm not really interested in how clear he's going to be about it. Iron Kong's already put it out. This man's been offered a contract twice to fight him, and he's ducked him. Why is it? Why should he be chasing after him? When he's already sent him 2 contracts. That he's ducked.
What the hell?
Like, it's like if you're in a nightclub and you ask a girl to dance with you and she says no, and you keep pestering her, the security are going to escort you out the building.
They will, and rightly so. Yeah,
exactly. Rightly so. So why has he got to do all this chasing?
Yeah, what's all that about?
And I think it was a less talk, more action. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah. You heard him say. Who was that? Who said that? Coates. You heard him say, Coates. Less talk, more action. These guys, both of them, both Wilder and Fury, they've had multiples of offers. It's a question of whether they're going to step up to the plate or not. The onus is upon them to step up to the plate. Do they want it or don't they want it? Do they want it or don't they want it? And moreover, who is it? Yeah, Coates. Tyson Fury received an invitation. He could have got a couple of free tickets, courtesy of Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua. So Tyson Fury could have been there. Do you find fault with Tyson Fury not being there? If Tyson Fury wanted some promotion, he could have been there. He could have been there in person. And I'm going to go to Big Boys Boxing in a second. Let's just go with this. AJ throws sloppy combos as well. Only good thing is the uppercut. Well, Tyson Fury can barely throw a straight punch. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, sloppy? You want to see the definition of sloppy? You want me to bring up the floppy glove? You want me to bring up the floppy glove, the sloppy glove?
Raph, do you remember when you had that footage of Tyson throwing the jab?
That's what I'm saying, the floppy glove.
No, it wasn't even the floppy glove, though. He was just jabbing, and I got upset about the quality of the jab.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, people were getting upset in the chat with me.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's a floppy jab, the floppy jab. Big Boys Boxing up in the building. How do you do?
I'm good. Hope you all are doing well, fellas.
Yeah, man, it's a Monday night and the show has started, so I'm feeling better now. I was feeling a bit tired, but as soon as I hit that start button, I become re-energized.
Sweet. No floppy sloppy.
No floppy sloppy over here, mate. I eat my spinach on a regular basis, at least 3 times a week.
Good on you.
Okay. So we're talking about we got a few AJ haters up in the building. They're saying all kinds of spurious stuff. They're saying, "Oh, I didn't like the way AJ did not answer the question about who he said who you wanted to fight next. Oh, AJ throws sloppy combinations. Oh, Pulev was a dead man after the 3rd round. Took Femi 6 more rounds to get him out of the way. A stiff European bomb." You want to talk about some of that, Big Boys? Want to address some of the haters?
Yeah, man. I've just been on another stream with talking about the level of criticism that Joshua is receiving, and it's pretty much a consensus view that most of the criticism is coming from guys who are looking for ways to down Anthony Joshua's performances, and realistically, none of them hold any weight. The guys who are legitimately with the legitimate criticisms, there are only small criticisms about what he can improve on, and when it comes down to it, he is a man. He's not perfect.
Yeah.
No boxer is, and there's always going to be some points you can criticize. But overall, I can't see why people don't see him as the top of the stack in the heavyweight division. He's done so much in his short career. He's brought heavyweight boxing back from the doldrums from the Klitschko era.
Yeah.
And these guys who are criticizing him, they're sitting there watching his fights. So, you know, if you hate the dude so much, why are you even watching him? You know, I just don't get it. I think it's just spiteful. They're jealous that whoever their man is that they're backing isn't doing as well as him. And Joshua deserves all the kudos as far as I'm concerned. He deserves to be top of the stack at the moment. As for his post-fight interview, what did Tyson say? He beat around the bush and stuck his butt in the hedge or something. It's always been a case for Anthony Joshua. It doesn't matter who it is. He wants those belts.
Yeah.
So, you know, Tyson not being at the fight, I think he realistically knows that he's not going to get to fight Joshua next. The WBO have already said that they've made 2 special exemptions for Joshua to fight Ruiz the second time and to fight Pulev, and they're not going to be giving another one. So AJ's going to have to fight Usyk or give up the belt. And because AJ's so focused on getting all those belts, he's not going to give up that belt. So I can see Tyson not being there is he knows he's not going to get that fight next. So why bother at this point in time? So, yeah.
The news is that the fight could still be next. It could be Joshua versus Fury next. Eddie Hearn has been talking. He said in a recent interview, I don't know if I heard it or read it, I might have it up on the screen somewhere. Eddie Hearn has said that what they're looking at is getting the Joshua Fury fight together, and even if it means that they have to drop the belt a week later, a week after the fight, so that Usyk can fight another guy, either Joseph Parker or Joe Joyce, for the WBO belt. They just want to hold on it for long enough that they can actually, it will be on the line when Joshua meets Fury. So they can basically, so the thinking is that they can arrange a WBO title fight with Usyk and Joyce or Parker, while Joshua and Fury actually fight. It's still on the line. The WBO belt is still on the line. John D. Lee.
Yeah, I'm hearing Eddie say all sorts of things. I think he's trying to play hardball with the WBO. I see it as a public negotiation. He's talked about dropping the belt. He's talked about what you suggested there.
Yeah.
He's talked about dropping all the belts and just making the fight. I'm really on the fence about what I think is going to happen. And I think we're going to see it all play out fairly soon anyway. I am suspicious that Tyson's going to want to have a warm-up fight before he fights AJ, because he'll have been out the ring since February.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sorry about that. Pablo Diablo comes up, makes the chat litty. Big up Raph and the Combat Radio crew. Much appreciation. That's a nice cup of coffee right there. You can get in a cup of tea for £1, so it don't cost much to make the chat litty. Much appreciation, Pablo Diablo. Back to you, John D. Lee.
I'm not even sure I think it's unreasonable for Tyson to have a warm-up fight.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too unreasonable. He hasn't fought since February of 2019.
Yeah, and there's no way that AJ is going to be fighting in February in 2021. So it will be more than 12 months out of the ring for the biggest fight of his career.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, you could say no, it's bigger than the Klitschko fight because there's more money and there's all 4 belts. So, and it wouldn't surprise me if Bob and it's been called World Bub Organization.
Yeah,
are pushing the WBO to force mandatory to save face so that Fury can have an interim fight.
Machiavellian moves.
Wouldn't surprise me, but we're never going to know if that's the truth.
We're never going to know if that's the truth. Iron Kong.
Yeah, Raphie.
Yes, Iron Kong. So there's a possibility. What's his name? Hearn. Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn said that, listen, he knows it's pressing with the WBO, pressing matters, but he wants that belt. He wants that belt on the line, even if it means he has to set up a title fight with Usyk and either Joseph Parker or Joe Joyce the following week. You know, so basically the WBO belt could be on the line 1 week, and the week later they can relinquish it for an Usyk bout, which would already have been scheduled.
Man, tell Paco from the WBO he should be ashamed of himself. The WBO is the youngest belt of all of them. He should be chomping at the bit to have the WBO legitimized in such a way in the heavyweight division. He should be like ready to go. This is why I keep telling people, abolish one of these belts and put up the IBO. The IBO should be above the WBO, in my opinion. Get out of here, man. Anyway, let me be quick. In terms of Tyson Fury and having an interim belt, I think it's unreasonable. Tyson Fury says he's the best thing. He's a god amongst men. He's this, he's that. He beat Anthony Joshua twice on Sunday. He should fight Anthony Joshua without any warm-up fight. Nobody wants to see no Tyson Fury bomb fights. Nobody wants to see Ajit Caballero bust his eye open. Nobody wants to see that. All right? We just go straight into the fight with Anthony Joshua because you're the best, and you this, and you that. So it's unreasonable to me. I don't want to see no more Tyson Fury bomb fights. All right? Go fight Wilder then.
Well, it's likely that I think it's highly likely that he will fight Wilder. And if he does fight Wilder early next year, which I suspect is exactly what will happen, not due to any court case or nothing, just simply the fact that I think they thought that was always going to be the case. You'll fight him voluntarily. You'll get a 60-40 split, whatever it is. You'll get the lion's share of the pie, and I expect that fight to happen in February 2019, March, April, May, June, July. Look for Anthony Joshua. Well, the winner of Anthony Joshua versus Usyk, because I think that if that happens, then Joshua will fight Usyk around the same time. Where are we now? December, January, February, March. Yeah, I think Joshua will fight Usyk around March time. If Fury fights Wilder, which is what I expect to happen, I think that's how it's going to pan out. Fury's going to fight Wilder in February of next year. Joshua is going to fight Usyk in March of next year, and the winner will fight somewhere later on in 2021. I think that's the reality, big boys boxing.
Yeah, just with regard to what Eddie Hearn has said about fighting for the WBO belt and having to drop it a week later, I personally don't think that will happen because of Mr. Valcarcel going public and saying that he won't give an exemption. Therefore, if the fight between Fury and Joshua does get made, the instant it is publicly announced, that's when they'll take the belt off him. I don't think they'll make it to the fight. But there is a possibility, according to Mr. Valcarcel of the WBO, that if Alexander Usyk agrees to step aside money, that's when the fight can happen. But the problem with that is there will definitely be a rematch, and they wouldn't allow the rematch. So the belt would have to be dropped anyway. But also, to compound the fact that I don't think that's going to happen, is if Joshua fights Fury, there's a real possibility Joshua could lose his belts to Fury, and then Usyk's purse will go down considerably if he's facing Fury compared to facing Joshua. So it makes sense from Usyk's point of view to push to get that Joshua fight while he's definitely still got those belts, and he's the biggest name in the heavyweight boxing with the biggest amount of money he could earn. So I'm with you, Raphie. I think Usyk and Joshua are probably going to fight end of February, March, And I also think that Wilder and Fury was never really off. There's just a whole lot of media kerfuffle to create a bit of hype around it. I think that fight's also going to happen around the same time. And then we can move forward with what's going to happen in the heavyweight division with regard to Undisputed.
Yes. John Daly, did you want to add on anything to that?
I mean, I can certainly see what John is saying being the outcome. I'm not even necessarily against it, because if that happens, there's very little doubt that the winner of AJ versus Fury is the number one heavyweight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, what you're going to say? Oh, well, Wilder could be AJ.
Mm-hmm.
AJ said he'll fight him anyway, so that might happen in 2022 if Wilder's still fighting, which is a big if at the moment. But ultimately, only the most biased individual would say that if Fury beat Wilder, AJ beat Usyk, then they fight each other. The winner of that fight is not the best heavyweight. So it isn't the end of the world if it goes that way, particularly if it's in February, March time.
Yeah.
And there's time to have the Undisputed fight next year anyway.
I hear that. Okay, so let's bring up the article. Oh, it's a different article actually, but let's bring up this one. I hadn't seen this before, but it's just popped up. So since we got a full panel, let's talk about it. Okay, so where is it? There it is. Let's move this along slightly. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, you can see it pretty clearly. Okay, so Fury, Joshua is tailor-made for my style. I aim to take him out early. Okay, so the WBC champion Tyson Fury was not overly impressed with a recent victory by Anthony Joshua. This past Saturday night at the SSE Arena at Wembley, Joshua retained his WBO, IBF, IBO, WBA heavyweight titles with a 9th-round knockout of mandatory challenger Kubrat Pulev, who went down 4 times in the contest. Okay, now the attention turns to a potential 2021 showdown between Fury and Joshua. What does this here? Fury has been out of the ring since February when he captured the WBC world title by stopping Deontay Wilder in the 7th round at the MGM Grand Garden in Las Vegas. Even after watching his recent destructive performance, Fury is convinced that his domestic rival is a tailor-made opponent. He said he saw nothing in Joshua's victory to make him change his opinion. No disrespect to Kubrat Pulev. He's nearly 40 years old, and he hasn't had a competitive fight since he fought Klitschko in 2014. He hasn't been boxing regularly against high-level opposition, and at 40 years old, he's ready to put on his carpet slippers anyway. Okay, so let me just talk about this. Okay, so Kubrat, what did he say? He says he's nearly 40 years old, and he hasn't had, this is the thing, he hasn't had a competitive fight since he fought Klitschko in 2014. Well, you know, the funny thing is that some people could argue that well, let's face the facts. The only how many top 10 fighters has Fury fought in the last 5 years, in the last 4 years, in the last 3 years? Fury's only fought one top 10 opponent in the last 3 years. How about that? How about that, John Daly?
Well, that's true. But I think Fury wants to have a word with himself. I know he's not on the best terms with his uncle and his cousin at the moment. But I'm pretty certain that to become the IBF mandatory, Kubrat Pulev beat Hughie Fury. It's very disrespectful to your cousin, Tyson.
Very disrespectful to Hughie Fury. Very disrespectful. Not John. Big Boys Boxing. Tyson Fury has beat one top 10 guy in the last 4 years.
Agreed. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's only beaten 2 top 10 guys in his entire career. You know, so he's sitting there criticizing Anthony Joshua, like throwing stones in a glass house. But seriously, the stuff Tyson Fury comes out with, I don't even pay attention to what he says anymore. I just giggle and move on because most of what he says is absolute crap. Yeah, it's all about promotion for him these days, and trying to make himself sound bigger so he can get a bigger paycheck when he finally does get that AJ fight. But when it comes down to it, as far as I know, they've already provisionally agreed to the splits when they do fight. So what difference does it make? Well, I can't see why he's sitting there criticizing somebody who's done so much for the division.
So much more than him. So much more than him.
Yeah, so much more than him. So much more than anybody.
Yeah.
In the division. So yeah, throwing stones in a glass house.
I can answer why that is, Jono.
Go ahead.
It's the jealousy factor. Tyson, when he beat Klitschko, did not get any credit. Then when it wasn't big news over here.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it just wasn't.
It wasn't.
He got told that he wasn't eligible to be Sports Personality of the Year that year. And I can remember how upset his father was about it.
Yeah.
It's an award. AJ's won that award as well, hasn't he?
I don't know.
He's still holding a grudge about that because now he wants to be taken off the list, doesn't he? For this year.
Yeah. So I think it still cuts him to the quick that Anthony Joshua got so many plaudits while he was out of the ring. I think that's changed a bit now in this country. I think Anthony Joshua is getting a lot of criticism now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
You get that when you're at the top, though, don't you?
Yeah.
I think there's a few other things.
There's a few other factors.
I certainly think the march in Watford's affected it as well.
The Black Lives Matter protesting, a lot of people kind of showed their true colors, pun intended. Boom.
Yeah.
So, there's and also AJ's got beaten as well. So, I mean, there's all those things that have meant that he's got more criticism. But I don't think it makes any difference to Tyson. Tyson is not going to forgive him for getting all the praise for beating Klitschko when Tyson did it.
When in fact it's not Joshua's himself's fault. It's the general public's fault, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think also Tyson would do better if he got rid of this snarky streak. People would tend to like him more. Joshua doesn't have much of a snarky streak, at least in public, and he gets so much more attention. So many more people love him. Whereas Tyson with the snarky streak and like you say, the jealousy factor isn't really attractive to a lot of fans.
Yeah, the jealousy factor isn't very attractive at all. It's not a very attractive trait. Let me bring in Eric. Eric, how you doing? ERF Boxing up in the building. How are you? Talk to me.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing, Raphie?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Good of you to join us. We're talking about the Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury says, no disrespect to Kubrat Pulev. He's nearly 40 years old, and he hasn't had a competitive fight since he fought Klitschko in 2014. But what I find ironic is that Tyson Fury has only beat one top 10 guy in the last 4 years.
Well, my response to that was, where was Seferis Ferry's top 10 opponent? Where was Pianetta's? Where was Schwartz? Where was Wallins? Where were they? Where were their opponents before Fury fought them? What did they do? Fury knows that, Fury feels the way to hype this fight up is to just slate how bad Joshua is. But yet, if he beats Joshua, it'll be his best win on his record, and he'll be hailed amazing. But yet, you'll have just beat a bum in your eyes. I don't understand it. He did the same thing with Wilder. his fans was all saying Wilder's a bum, Wilder's nothing. They beat Wilder, and all of a sudden, Fury's this amazing fighter after beating Wilder. Last time I checked, you all thought Wilder was a bum, so beating him shouldn't have meant anything to your career.
Totally.
And don't forget after Fury beat Wilder, all of a sudden Tyson starts saying Deontay Wilder's the hardest, heaviest hitter in the whole division.
Yeah, and that's how it works. This is where people like. I expect it from Fury. I do expect it, but Fury fans, like, the stuff they come out with just doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. It's like they're slating AJ now.
Yeah.
If Fury beats AJ, they'll be saying how amazing Fury is.
Oh.
For me, nothing changes then. If AJ's a bum and nothing changes, it doesn't tell you anymore about Fury because AJ's a bum. If he's fighting a bum, then it's like Deontay Wilder. All the fights he had before, nobody could tell what Wilder was. We knew he could hit hard, but that's it. Like when he got to world level, he struggled because he struggled against Ortiz in the first fight. He struggled against Ortiz in the second fight before knocking him out.
Yeah.
He struggles at world level. He always has done. He struggled against Bermane Severn in the first fight. What Gerald Washington, who's not even world level, was outboxing him.
Yeah.
Spilker was beating him. Like Deontay Wilder is notoriously known for not being great when it comes to the thing. The only thing that's great about him was his power.
Yeah.
And he managed to get people out of there. But
Even that,
yeah, go on.
Even that.
Yeah, even
how many top 10 heavyweights is Deontay Wilder?
that is my point
It's
as well. The only there's nothing he can.
Because he didn't knock out the men.
Yeah, and this is my point when it comes back to Fury and saying, "Oh, Fury is definitely number one because he's beat Wilder." Like, no, Wilder was never number one in your eyes before Fury fought him.
Yeah.
Before Fury fought him, he wasn't number one.
So what's changed? And Mr. Colt says, "How am I a hater when I said he looked good? Don't be fanboys to that degree." He was asked. And he gave an indirect. You've heard him answer the damn question multiple times. Multiple.
I don't understand.
Why is he going on?
What I don't understand is why does AJ need to say he wants to fight Fury? Like, why does he need to say that? We all know he wants to fight with. We know that Fury. If that's the case, if you're gonna say, oh, AJ didn't mention Fury's name, Fury had open invite to go to that fight. He didn't turn up.
Exactly.
He had open invite. So why is he not getting slated for not going to the fight?
Why did Fury not go to the fight? Why are you not questioning Fury for not going to the fight, Mr. Coach?
Exactly.
Mr. Coach, please answer the question. Why are you not questioning Fury for not going to the fight, but yet you're questioning Joshua for not mentioning him in name when he mentioned, and he did mention him in name, but not mentioning him in name quick enough for your tastes?
Yeah, he actually said, if it's Fury who's got the belt, let it be Fury.
Let it be Fury.
Why should it? It's his fight. It's his fight, Mike. It's his event.
Yeah.
When he's just knocked out Pulev, why should he make it all about Tyson Fury? It's his night. It ain't about Tyson Fury. It's about Anthony Joshua. Yeah. He shouldn't have to talk about Tyson Fury. If Tyson Fury wanted to be spoke about, he'd have been there and he'd have been in AJ's face. He wasn't there. He made it clear he wasn't going. So why should AJ then waste his energy and speak about somebody who got an open invite to come to the fight who didn't want to be there?
Free tickets. He was offered free tickets. He wouldn't have to spend a penny.
Nope.
And why
he even got offered to pay? He got offered to get paid for it, actually, because Sky offered him to be on the broadcast, which he'd have got paid for.
He'd have got some money out of it. He could have had a couple of shillings in his back pocket. Floyd Mayweather flew all the way from Los Angeles in a private jet to be ringside. Now, Fury only lives a couple 100 miles up the road, and he couldn't be asked to get down there. Why, Mr. Coates? Why are you not questioning Tyson Fury? I'm very.
And what's the reason for the question? Because AJ
everybody knows. Everybody already knows.
To fight twice. So you actually trying to imply that AJ is afraid to fight a man that's ducked him twice?
I don't understand it. It's a Fury fan mentality that they feel like Fury is. I'm just listening to Unrivaled. His question was, is Fury under criticized? He is, because since he came back, I was saying this to a friend. Before Fury went on his hiatus, nobody cared about Tyson Fury. There's a reason why he went on a hiatus. When he beat Klitschko, he expected to come back to England and be the golden boy.
Yeah.
And no one gave him that response. He did not get that response from the fans. Then he came up with the homophobic comments, whatever he made, which he got removed from the sports personality for those comments.
Yeah.
But yet, no one cared about him. He goes away, he comes back, and then all of a sudden, people wanted to hate Joshua that much because they felt like he was a company machine, that he was a hype job. So the people who hate Eddie Hearn instantly doesn't like Anthony Joshua. They don't like Anthony Joshua, so they needed someone. They needed that person there to beat Anthony Joshua, to be better than Anthony Joshua. And when Fury came back, he was the guy everyone jumped to that hated Anthony Joshua already. They just jumped to him. Like, you listen to the comments and the stuff they say about Fury. It's like, did you not know his career? His first half of his career is better than his second half of his career. But you lot are still banging on about how he beat Wilder. That's the only person he's beat in 5 fights.
Yeah, 5 years.
His first half of his career was a lot better than his second half. But they don't even know about the first half of his career because they never followed him before that.
The other thing is,
hold on a second. I want to deal with this one thing. Where is it? AJ needs to fight Fury to be number one. Now let's address that. Some fantastic juicy ones coming from the comment section. Okay, now let me address that first. Okay, now AJ has fought 5 people currently in the Ring Magazine top 10. 5. Wilder has fought 2, and that was Tyson Fury and Luis Ortiz, the old man of the division, and Tyson Fury has fought 1. Now you tell me, how the hell is a guy who's only fought 1 top 10 guy in 5 years? How is he number 1? How is a guy who's only
Raphie,
1 top 10 guy number 1?
I'll tell you.
This
is the exact response you're going to get, because he beat Klitschko first. 5 years ago, he beat Klitschko, so that automatically he's still number 1. He's not number 1 because Klitschko is already been beat since that. Yeah. We've proved it. Klitschko's been beat, and then the guy, right? Fury beat Klitschko. What did he do after Klitschko? After he beat Klitschko, what did he do?
Retired.
He retired
and got banned for steroids.
Yep. So AJ beats Klitschko. What did he do?
He goes on to unify the title.
So tell me how AJ needs to fight Fury to become number 1.
He doesn't.
I've actually got a more scathing point.
He doesn't.
I've got a much more scathing point than this. How many title defenses has Tyson Fury made?
OMG.
Oh, he's defended his lineal title.
Oh, 0 De Niro. 0 De Niro.
Imaginary title.
Yeah.
He's defended his lineal title. What are you talking about, John? He's defended that lineal title against Fury, Pianetta, Otto Wallin, Tom Schwartz, Deontay Wilder twice.
Eric, and I know you're pulling my leg.
Yeah.
You're pulling my leg, but there's 2 things I've got to say. First of all, Vlad wasn't lineal.
Nope, he wasn't. And people.
And secondly, in this email, I've got an email from the guy that runs Cyberzone Boxing confirming that they had taken Tyson Fury's lineal status away from him when he retired.
Yeah,
this is my thing. I keep saying to people when I have these conversations, when was Vlad lineal champion? When was it? He was consensus champion. He was never lineal. There's not been a lineal champion since Lennox Lewis.
Right.
He's never been a lineal champion. And you cannot retire for 3 years and still. It's like Lennox Lewis saying, "You know what? I'm coming back tomorrow. I'm the lineal champion."
Yeah.
Lennox
Lewis has more claim to the lineal status if he came out of retirement than Tyson Fury.
Listen, if Lennox Lewis came back and fought Mike Tyson in one of those retro fights, then the lineal would be on the line.
Raphie,
he's got more.
Actually come out and said this recently.
Who said
that?
Yeah,
he did. Yeah,
Lennox is actually.
He says technically, I'm still the lineal champion, which he is. He's not wrong. He's the last lineal champion.
He's the last lineal champion, as far as I'm concerned. Big boys boxing's getting lost in the shuffle. Big boys boxing, come in.
I guess the argument that people say Vlad was lineal was, it was the consensus number 1 and 2 that fought when he fought Ruslan Shagayev. But if you go back to any videos around that time, I guarantee you can't find one person that says Ruslan Shagayev was the consensus number 2. He wasn't
even in the rankings as number 2. I've checked the rankings, and he was
history because Vitaly wasn't retired. They try and make out like Vitaly was inactive, but Vitaly didn't retire till 2014?
14.
To free up the WBC belt.
Yeah,
I believe he's still the WBC emeritus champion, isn't he? Still.
Yeah, he's still. But so from when Stavern and Areola fought for the WBC.
Yeah, it was 2014 because then after Wilder fought Stavern after that.
Yeah.
In 15.
Yeah. And I'm pretty certain Vitaly went on to be active for about 2 to 3 years after Chagayev and Vlad fought. Trying to make out like it's consensus 1 and 2.
All it was
revisionist history, completely revisionist history, because all the other new lineages have been started by an undisputed champion, not a consensus 1 and 2.
Yeah, and all it was is the fact that they knew that Vlad and Vitaly would never fight each other. So the moment Vitaly retired, they was like, right, Vitaly's retired now. Automatically, Vlad becomes the man, and that's where they get Fury beat the man that beat the. No, you didn't, because Vlad never beat the man who was because his brother was the other guy.
Yeah,
his brother was the other guy, so he never actually beat the man who was the man.
Well, no one was the man because Lennox retired.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and then
exactly
what happened in the past. What's the one from the 30s? So they had a tournament to establish a new lineage between Schmeling and Sharkey. I'm trying to remember who retired. Gene Tunney retired as the undisputed champion.
Yeah.
And when Sharkey and Schmeling fought, that was for the undisputed championship. The next time that happened is Marciano, and Marciano's belt was taken over by Patterson, who fought a competition to become the undisputed champion.
Right.
But in those days, there was only 2 belts. So they're really trying to move the goalposts in a 4-belt era, because all the other lineages that were started from fresh were started by an undisputed champion.
Yeah.
Then they could say none of this consensus 1 and 2 nonsense.
Well, yeah, because like your 3-belt era was obviously Lennox was the last one. There's never been a 4-belt era undisputed, so there should your tournament is. Well,
the lineage was unbroken from Patterson to Lennox, though.
Yeah,
and it gets confusing because not only was Lennox the last undisputed champion, he was also the last lineal champion, but they're not connected to each other. In Lennox's case,
and
he became lineal from beating Shannon Briggs.
Yeah, and let me shift slightly. Okay, so Mr. Coach is back.
Well, if we do get Joshua,
carry on, Jono.
if we do get Fury versus AJ next year sometime, we will have lineal once again. Provided these guys keep winning. That'll be it. That's a fact.
I believe they have one more fight each before that fight.
Yeah. Agreed.
Fury's not going to.
Point to start a new lineage, you have to have an undisputed champion. Then you can start a new lineage afresh.
Yep.
Okay. So, so Mr. Colt says, pull the footage up from when he was answering questions inside the arena to the crowd, and you all the ones continue to hate on fighters, aka what the hell are you talking about? You've never been here before, Mr. Colt. You've never been here before. What the hell are you on? Are you on Spice?
Talking facts is not hating.
Yeah. Talking facts is not hating. Are you on Spice? You on bath salts? You on them bath salts?
Mr. Coates, please tell me what we've said to hate on Wilder that isn't true.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can tell me I've said something that isn't true about Wilder that's hating, then be my guest, because I don't think I've said one thing that's not true.
Exactly. And
or Fury for that matter.
All Fury for that
matter. Yeah, bring it up. Bring it up. Pull up that footage, Mr. Coates. Okay, so Pablo Diablo, I was hoping you could get something more substantial. Back. Yeah, you're back in Iron Kong. And what's this? I hope AJ defends all the belts. Abolish 2 of the alphabet belts. I don't think they're gonna comply with that.
No.
Jay Hansen, Raphael, thank you for getting Pat on the channel. Really enjoyed it. Much appreciation, Jay Hansen. Yeah, and Pat will be back. We're gonna schedule something, but obviously this Monday there's a lot to talk about. So it's a scheduling. We'll schedule him in his return, and then he's going to talk about his career and more. Okay, and so D-Bro, I guess Wilder is a warm-up. I guess Fury will be using Wilder as a warm-up. Absolutamente. I'm going to get through some of these questions, statements in the chat, because I've fallen way behind. I think everybody just mute your mics. I can hear some background rustling. Where are we? If AJ releases the belt, Fury will ask for a 70-30 split in his favor. Well, he's only got one belt. Fury's only got one belt. You can say the lineal, that would be 2, but still, Joshua's got 3. So, but I hear what you're saying. I think you're joking. I understand. Good to have you in the chat. Kabayal would beat Pulev. Well, yeah, pull the footage up of that. Does Usyk take step aside money? He said he ain't gonna take no step aside money. He wants Joshua. He wants that long money. You get when you fight Joshua. D-Bro, you're giving Wilder too much credit. Can't see AJ fighting in March, maybe June or July. Why can't you see him fighting in March? Where are we now? December, January, February, March. That's 3 months. Okay, maybe 4 months, maybe April. Maybe 4 months, but I don't think he wants to mess around too long. Remember, he was out of the ring for 12 months, so I think he could come back in March or April easily. AJ will not drop a belt. It's all about undisputed, but Usyk could make 5 to 10 million to sit it out easy. I don't think they're going to pay him 10 million to sit out, to be honest, but you might be right. Who knows? AJ has concurred with that many times. I don't know what the statement you're referring to, my friend. Usyk said he's not making enough money. He may want that step aside, just saying. Well, no, he'll take the fight before he takes step aside. He's adamant he ain't taking step aside. 10 million enough, he can't refuse.
Too risky, man. Because if he takes that step aside money, AJ could lose his belts, and that's the AJ payday gone.
Boom.
Not going to happen.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, that's a good point.
As much as it'd be nice, but we know Fury isn't going to go into that fight on a 15-month not fighting, because Fury's not fought since February last year. This fight isn't going to happen till at the earliest. This fight would happen in June at the earliest, and by that point, Fury would have been out of the ring 15 months.
Yeah,
no, that's not going to happen. He's not going to go into that fight without another fight. So the Usyk fight will happen, and I think Fury will definitely have a fight in between as well.
That's definitely a possibility. Definitely a possibility. Okay, Ruben Guerrero says AJ style kind of tailor-made. Fury too big. Fury too big, too long. Gonna gas Femi out. Who wants to go with that first? Iron Kong, I think you're back up in the building. You want to go with that first? You want to speak on that question statement from Guerrero?
Yeah, since it's Olowa Femi week, I don't know what Ruben talking about. Tyson Fury too big, too long, whatever. Otto Wallin got in on Tyson Fury too, and he tried all that keep it long business and that's when Tyson Fury was on his back foot, with Ben Davison. So he was on his back foot style. You know what I'm saying? Is Tyson Fury going to be on his back foot? So if Tyson Fury is on his back foot and Otto Wallin could get in on Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua suddenly can't get in on Tyson Fury. So if Tyson Fury going to bring his front foot dominant push forward style against Deontay, like he did with Deontay Wilder, is that style going to bully Anthony Joshua like Deontay Wilder? I don't think so. So if Otto Wallin can get in when Tyson Fury was really working the long game, you want to tell me that my guy Oluwafemi can't get in and beat down that boy? Nonsense you're talking, Ruben. You don't know what you're saying. You know what boxing.
Yeah, I don't. This is my thing with Fury fans. Yeah. Why do they feel like Fury has never been touched in a fight before? I just don't understand. Do they realize Fury has had so many fights and he's been touched up in most of his fights? I know his boxing abilities on a level where you have to admire. Don't get me wrong, but why are people seem to think one of the best fighters in the heavyweight division cannot get to Tyson Fury when he's been got to by Iron Kong said Otto Wallin? He's been got to by fighters. Steve Cunningham managed to knock his ass down. He's been touched up. He is being touched up. So why do they think someone who's a superior fighter and a boxer to those guys who he's fought already, he can't get to him? It baffles me. And this is where I say this is fanboy stuff when they say, oh, Fury will easily do this to Joshua. Joshua won't do it. Like, come on. I'm a Joshua fan, and I know it's going to be a hard night for him.
It'll be a hard night.
Fighting Fury. It's going to be a hard night for him. He's going to struggle.
It's going to be a hard night for both of them.
Exactly. But this is why I can't deal with Fury fans when they say, oh, it's easy. Like, come on. Really? Really?
Big boys boxing. Big boys boxing. Why do these Fury fans say that Joshua's got no chance when we've already seen people cut him up, drop him, but Joshua can't touch him. He'll be untouchable against Joshua. Is that the case? Is that the case?
Not as far as I can see, man. It's a great fight, and as it stands right now, I can't pick a winner. Fury does have
I've got Fury as the favorite. I've got Fury as the favorite. So let that be on the record.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, Fury's got very good boxing IQ. He's got a lot of skills. He can change to southpaw whenever he likes and be just as effective from that stance. We've seen a new part of his game. He can come forward and try and be dominant, as we saw against Wilder, but that's a totally different style to what Anthony Joshua's got. He's adding more tools to his belt all the time as well. We know Anthony Joshua's got a very good uppercut. If Tyson Fury tries to press like he did against Wilder, I suspect he'd get knocked out with an uppercut.
Yeah.
So it's not a single plan that Tyson's going to be able to use against Joshua. He could try and box him from the outside, but we've seen Joshua try and come forward, and he could do what Otto Wallin did to Tyson Fury and get inside on him if he tries to play that back foot game. So it's a very tough fight to call, and I'm possibly leaning towards Fury as a favorite right now as well, but I'd like to see how he goes against Usyk. I'm not saying he's anything like Usyk, but Usyk has a lot more evasive than most people that Joshua has faced and moves a lot like Fury possibly can. So I'd like to see how he deals with that. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting when and if the fight does happen. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be very interesting, John Dealey. It's going to be very interesting, but I've got Fury as the slight favorite, simply because of his fiddly stuff. He does the fiddly stuff. He does the fiddly hand movement. Is fiddly. He can be dirty when he wants to be dirty. He can be slick and sly when he wants to be slick and sly. So I think Joshua. Well, I know from the feedback that you get that Joshua would be heading into that fight as the underdog. Joshua was the underdog, I think, against Klitschko. Joshua was the underdog, I think, against Charles Martin. A lot of people had Charles Martin winning that. I don't know if he was the underdog exactly, but a lot of people had Charles Martin winning that. So being the underdog, I don't think the underdog would phase Joshua. In fact, I would imagine Joshua would absolutely relish being the underdog. All the pressure's off. I think he's looking forward to the fight because all the pressure's off. A lot of people are expecting Tyson Fury to win. Joshua goes in as the underdog, and I think he would relish that position. John D. Lee.
Well, he's actually got on record, so he's trying to cultivate that mentality of being the underdog anyway. 100. So there's no doubt he prefers that. I think he was also the underdog against Andy Ruiz. I don't really get why they're saying AJ's style is tailor-made.
I don't get it. Somebody elaborate, please.
For a number of reasons. So, number one, AJ's shown the capacity to change his style and work to a game plan for different fighters. And he did this a lot earlier than people give him credit for. What's the best way to beat southpaw? Counter right hand. How did AJ dispatch of Charles Martin? Counter right hand.
Yeah.
He's boxed on the back foot. We've seen him do different things that we haven't seen him do before against Pulev. He admitted in an interview prior to this fight that he didn't know how to slip a jab prior to going into the Pulev fight, and he didn't know how to throw feints. We saw him do both against Pulev. We've also seen Tyson do this as well. We've seen Tyson learn new things and implement them in the ring. That's what makes it a fascinating fight. So I've got no issue with anyone thinking Fury's going to win. But anybody that thinks that this isn't a highly competitive fight has got an agenda.
100%. They got an agenda. Anyone who doesn't think this isn't a competitive fight has got an agenda. Mr. Jones. Who is Mr. Jones? Who is Mr. Jones? Okay, Mr. Jones.
I think he called me an AJ fanboy in the chat.
oh, Mr. Jones. Yeah, Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, you are live. Mr. Jones, you are live. Mr. Jones, you are live. Oh, Mr. Jones has got stage fright. Mr. Jones got stage fright and disappeared.
There was a point that Ruben Guerra made as well that I think goes completely under the radar. One
second. Mr. Jones has returned. Mr. Jones. Speak up, Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, speak up. Okay. Mr. Jones.
It's hard to do under the bright lights, Raphie.
Mr. Jones, it's under the bright lights. It's the pressure on the It's the pressure. It's the pressure.
It's easy in the chat. It's easy in the chat.
In the chat, but when you get up here on the combat radio stage and that bright beam hits you, it's a different kettle of fish. John Dealey, go ahead, my friend.
There's something that completely goes under the radar from Tyson Fury's performance against Deontay Wilder. Tyson was gassing. And he was gassing because he doesn't normally go in the ring at 273 pounds. It didn't matter because the game plan worked.
Yeah.
But, saying AJ's going to gas against Fury, well, I think a lot's going to be determined by the scale. If AJ comes in at between 238 and 242, I don't think he's going to gas. He might have to manage energy expenditure like he did against Pulev, but he looks like he's learned how to do that as well. And
we haven't seen him gas since the Vladimir fight after he got hurt.
I don't know whether he gassed against Andy Ruiz. and whether that affected his ability to recover. Like he really did open up on him when he got clipped. It's possible. There's a lot of possibilities there. But certainly since the Andy Ruiz fight, he definitely hasn't gassed.
Well, he hasn't fought since the Andrew Ruiz fight.
No, yeah, he's at the first Andrew Ruiz fight. He's had 2 fights and he hasn't gassed. And he's come in under 245 pounds in both fights.
Yeah.
And he was 242 against Joseph Parker, and he looked like his gas tank was fine then. So I think they have found the sweet spot. Like, over 245, it is too big.
We were telling him for how long to get down to 240. We were telling him.
Fuck her right in the pussy, man.
What did he say?
He
He said, "Oh, you're right in there, you ain't." All right, nice try, Jonesy. Now scram. Okay, so what have I got to do to get rid of him? Oh, no. What do I do to get rid of him? Kick from the studio.
Right click.
There we go. Boom, and he's out. Who else is
Hey, Raph,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt, mate. I've got to fly, so thanks for having me on, and appreciate you fellas. It's been a pleasure as usual.
100%. That's Big Boys Boxing. He's got his own channel going on. Go check him out. Okay, so that's who's left. Oh, Eric's dropped off as well. Where's Eric? Let me just put the link back up in the chat just in case. So what's going on here? Let me go through some more. See a lot of people popping up, never seen them before. Write some stuff down in the chat. Write some stuff down in the chat so we can see who you are. We can see who you really are. Says we don't want any trolls. Don't want any trolls up in here. Have you ever heard of the broadcast ring, John or Iron Kong?
The which one? Sorry.
A broadsheet ring.
No, I'm not familiar with that.
I have not.
I have not. No, we never heard of you, my friends. So write some stuff in the chat, and we get to you. And there's another guy called Combat Ethics. Are you familiar with him, John? Or
no, but I mean that doesn't mean a lot. So
no. Hey, Raph, I've been in the chat the whole time. Yeah, write some stuff in the chat. I ain't seen you in the chat, my friend. Write some stuff in the chat. Yeah, write some stuff in the chat so I can see you, my friend. Thank you. What's going on here? A small, fat Mexican battered AJ around the ring, causing him to quit. Lol. That was humiliating. Well, I mean, he lost to Andy Ruiz. There were extenuating circumstances. Andy Ruiz's own promoter, Serafina, she works for his promoter, said that they had sparring partners in Joshua's camp who confirmed to them that Joshua had been concussed. That's not coming from me. That's coming from Serafina. So if you doubt that, I have a video with Serafina saying that out of her own mouth. All you need to do to find the video is go into my channel, write Serafina in the title for videos, and it will come up. Alternatively, just search YouTube, Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio, Serafina, and that video will come up with Serafina saying it out of her own mouth. So you're talking about him losing to the fat Mexican. Well, there were extenuating circumstances. He was supposed to be fighting someone else, etc., etc. That was humiliating. Well, how humiliating was it? Because he came back and he beat the guy, made a record purse, and has improved his game. So how humiliating is making a record purse in a combat fight and improving your game? How is that humiliating? That's, you're not thinking properly. You're not thinking properly. You know what
it's humiliating. They see it as humiliating because that's the only thing they can go off to discredit AJ. That's literally the only thing he got beat by a fat Mexican. That fat Mexican also lost a close decision to Joseph Parker, which I believe he could have gone his way.
Yeah.
This fat Mexican, nobody else seemed to be clamoring to fight this fat Mexican. he also immediately rematched this fat Mexican and beat him.
Yeah. For a record.
He immediately rematched him. And
Yeah,
everybody can talk about his style, how he got knocked out, but then he ran from him. No, it's called boxing, because if had Tyson Fury done the same thing to Ruiz and fought like he did against Ruiz, like AJ did, you'd be calling it a masterclass. You'd be saying it's a brilliant, because tell me what can't get my words out. The Fury Vlad fight. Look at the Fury Vlad fight and look at the Ruiz Joshua second fight. It was similar. There wasn't much action. There wasn't much action at all.
Difference in the first round that AJ busted open Andrew Ruiz's eye.
Sorry, let me interrupt.
He did.
Sorry, let me interrupt. Michael J. White, get back to your word in a second, John. How do you know Fury fans refuse to give credit? Where is the evidence of that? Or is that just your opinion? My man, you are the evidence. You are the evidence.
No.
The evidence is right there. Look at your screen right now. Look at your screen right now. Look at your screen right now. You, Michael J. White, you are the evidence, my friend.
Michael J. White, I have not seen you say one positive thing about AJ in the chat. Not one positive thing. All you've been talking about is a fat Mexican who he also beat. He also beat that fat Mexican.
Yeah, wasn't it you just talking about the small fat Mexican? Well, for a start, that's an oxymoron, because if you're fat, you're not small. So that's an oxymoron. Small fat Mexican. Now, battered AJ around the ring. Okay, I gave you the extenuating circumstances. Now, that small fat Mexican that you mentioned, he was in a 50-50 fight with Joseph Parker. It was a toss-up who won that fight. It was 50-50. And Anthony Joshua, you forget to mention that Anthony Joshua beat the guy who beat the small fat Mexican. So what's your problems, Michael J. White? You are the evidence, my friend. You are the evidence. Anyway, back to you, John, and then I'll go over to Iron.
Well, I was only making a point about what Eric was saying. In the first round, the right hand that AJ landed on Andy Ruiz was a pretty nasty right hand that completely split his eye open. And Andy didn't look too keen to try and come forward very much after that. I don't really remember Tyson doing anything to deter Vlad from actually coming in, other than feinting, other than pretending like he was going to hit him.
Yeah.
And then tickling him a bit with a fast jab. And getting out the back door again.
Yeah,
that's my point on that. Is people seem to forget how Tyson Fury actually fights, but then want to criticize another guy for fighting a similar way.
Yeah,
it baffles me. It baffles me.
And when has Tyson Fury ever been an entertaining fighter? He's known for many things, but he's not known to be entertaining.
The guy is an amazing boxer. Yeah, amazing boxer.
That beatdown he put on Deontay Wilder.
Well, that was his finest moment. That was his finest moment.
Several times because
that's a highly entertaining fight. But prior to that, that's his last fight. That's his last fight. But throughout his career, he is not been an entertaining fighter.
And because when he wasn't Go on, Johnson.
All right. Has Michael J. White watched the Nevin Pikic fight? Just out of interest.
You beat me to it. You beat me to it.
Pikic fight. I just want to know what Michael J's breakdown of that fight is.
But this is my point. My point was going to be, when Fury tried to be entertaining earlier on in his career, he got hit a lot. And his uncle Peter told him, that's not the style you need to have.
Yeah.
And that's why when he changed his style, because when he was younger in his career and he was coming forward trying to knock guys out, he realized he couldn't really put guys away like he wanted to. And he was also getting hit in the process, hitting a lot in the process of getting to these guys. And his uncle Peter changed his style to a guy who feints on the back foot and outboxes people.
Yeah.
But these Fury fans clearly know all of this, so I don't need to mention it.
Yeah. What fight did you mention, John? What fight did you mention?
Nevin Pajkic.
Nevin Pajkic.
Yeah, it's a year. So it's Pajkic.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the first guy to drop. It's the first guy to drop Fury.
Pajkic, Nevin Pajkic. Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what was his name? Michael J. White. Michael J. White's assessment of that fight. Iron Kong.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, man. Come in anytime, my friend. Come in anytime. Anytime.
Yeah, listening to y'all, man. I don't feed trolls, but since this is still all over Femi week.
Yeah.
I want to mention the greatness of Femi.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say to the people in there, these trolls in there, that's probably one person using like multiple accounts or some wild stuff, because these people are talking the same stuff, right? Look here, man. If Otto Wallin can get in on Tyson Fury, so can Anthony Joshua. I don't care what none of y'all say. Y'all make Tyson Fury out to be this Iron Man, this whatever, just because he walked down Deontay Wilder. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, Anthony Joshua is somebody who I find to be, he's easily molded. Like at this point in his career, he seems to be very malleable. Like, he can be molded into whatever. And all I'm saying to Tyson Fury is, don't take no bum fight next. Fight Anthony Joshua now. Because if you don't fight him now and he gets better, you're going to be in trouble. All right? That's all.
Yeah. Going into, hold on, I'm not showing that, am I? Let me try to get through this this Tyson Fury interview. Let's try and get through it. Okay, so no disrespect to Kubrat Pulev. He's nearly 40 years old. He hasn't fought a competitive fight since he fought Klitschko in 2014. He hasn't been boxing regularly against high level. This is Tyson talking about himself. He hasn't been boxing regularly against high level opposition, and at 40 years old, ready to.
Tyson can't be serious. Tyson can't be serious.
He only looks nearly 40, Raphie. He's actually only 31.
Yeah, he's still only 31, but kind of looks 40. I'm not just saying this because he's a rival of mine and going to be one of my opponents. I've said it for a long time that I do believe Anthony Joshua is tailor-made for somebody with my style. I think it will be one of the most explosive and quickest fights we're going to see. And I'm aiming to take him out inside 4 rounds. Okay. I said that about Deontay Wilder, and not many people listened. And I will say it again about Anthony Joshua. He's standing in my way of total supremacy of my era, and he's the only one left I haven't beaten. Immortality awaits. I'm 1 win away from it. So what do I think about that? Well, yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua isn't a one-dimensional Deontay Wilder. Anthony Joshua can knock Tyson Fury out. He's got the power, and the only question is the placement. And I think Deontay, if Tyson Fury stays on the outside, he's got the longer reach. Yeah, I think that Anthony Joshua has been training for Tyson Fury. We've seen the parry come in. We've seen the parry. We're seeing level changes. So we've seen Anthony Joshua go to the body with the jab. Tyson Fury's length can work for him. It can also work against him. Anthony Joshua can get on the inside and wreak havoc. So even though I think that Tyson Fury is the slim favorite, I do see ways and keys for victory for Anthony Joshua. Getting on the inside, staying right on the outside, lunging in, changing levels, getting on the inside. I really don't think it's going to be that hard for Anthony Joshua to get on the inside of Tyson Fury. And oftentimes, Tyson Fury wants to smother his guy. Tyson Fury might come in at 270 again and want to smother the guy, in which case, that's the inside grappling. Go back in my archives, you'll see a video I did with EJ Boxing about the inside grappling. Joshua's working on that, but he can still got work to do with the inside grappling. Still got work to do, but he can unleash those uppercuts and from the inside. He neglected the left hook a little bit, but I'm sure that's something they'll look at the tape and rectify. Uppercut, left hook on the inside, close range. Many ways for Anthony Joshua to beat Tyson Fury. So these crazy people who are saying, oh, Tyson Fury can't get touched. We've seen him get touched by lesser men than Joshua. And you're living in a delusion, my friends. Anybody who thinks that you're living in a delusion. I think we got to the end of that. Okay, so we're going around the table. ERF.
Yeah.
Sure. What do you see the keys to victory for Joshua? What do you think of the keys to victory for Joshua versus Tyson Fury?
I've thought about this so many times.
Yeah.
For Joshua, I think he just needs to stay on the front foot. He stays on the front foot, takes the middle of the ring. He'll control the fight. Although Tyson Fury enjoys being on the back foot, putting him under pressure on the back foot and not letting him want to. There's a difference between being on the back foot because you want to be, and being on the back foot because somebody's putting you there. Mm-hmm. And I believe if Joshua can put him on the back foot and cut the ring off like he can do, because his footwork has got a lot better.
Yes.
Joshua's footwork has got a lot better. He can win this fight. But also saying that, Tyson Fury could out jab, out point, and do all of that to Anthony Joshua. I believe he can. I think he's got the ability to. He has the ability to just keep Anthony Joshua at long range. But I don't think with Anthony Joshua's mentality and how he fights, I don't think he's the sort of fighter to just allow rounds to slip away and let someone keep him on the end of a jab. Mm-hmm. He will take risks. He's proven it to take risks. He will take risks when it comes to it. And let's be honest, this is for all the marbles. So if you're not going to take risks now, you'll never take risks again in your life. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But Fury saying that he's fought everybody and Anthony Joshua is the last guy to fight. No, you fought two world champions and that's it. You've not fought the in-between fighters who are great, who are good fighters. You've not fought those fights.
And let me say this. Let me come in and say this before I move over to John. Let me say this. Tyson Fury's resume is thin. I repeat, Tyson Fury's resume is thin. Yes, he beat Vladimir Klitschko, and then he went on to beat the most protected heavyweight champion in living history.
I'm just going to go do something at work, so let me just get this point across.
Yeah.
People's got to realize just because you beat the champion doesn't make you amazing. Sometimes the guys in between the champions, the challengers, are sometimes the hardest fights you can fight. The champions sometimes are the easiest fights of your career. Sometimes they are. There's the challengers who are trying to get something, who are trying to make it up there, are your hardest fights in your career. They're sometimes the worst fights to have. So for me, fighting your top 10 guys, your mandatories and stuff like that, sometimes they're the banana skins. They're the hard fights where you think, oh, he's only number 3, I should beat him. Then it becomes a hard fight. It becomes a hard fight. Oh, my mandatory's here. I've got to do this. It becomes a hard fight. So it's the champions. Because for the champions is a bit of an easier fight because there's nothing to get that already. You're already up for it because you're fighting a champion. When you're fighting a challenger, sometimes it's hard to get up for it. You somewhat overlook them. So then the fight's a lot closer than what everybody expects it to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why I say Tyson Fury's resume is thin because he hasn't fought the in-between guys. And those are where the banana skins are at. And beating Wilder, I don't know how much credit I give. I don't know how much credit I give him for beating Wilder. You got to give him some because Wilder was a champion, but we also have to bear in mind the most protected heavyweight champion in living history, John D. Lee.
Well, that's my contention about Wilder. I don't really want to talk about Wilder at this point because I'll just get carried away.
Yeah. Well, no, we're just saying
in
that.
terms of,
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's some people who are old enough to remember Floyd Patterson. It's a toss-up between them two. So, keys for victory. AJ's been learning how to slip jabs. I wonder why he's been doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
He gave an interview, I think, in about 2017, on top of the really tall building in Dubai, about his opponents at the time. And at that point, he said that to beat Tyson Fury, you need to get inside him and work his body. And if you actually watch what Otto Wallin was doing when he was having success, it was the body attack that actually did more damage.
Yeah.
And once he cut Tyson, he neglected the body and went
away from that.
Yeah. So AJ knows what he needs to do, and AJ's got an excellent work ethic.
Yeah.
So I think it's straightforward. He's got to find ways to get inside, parrying, slipping his way past that long stick, and work Tyson's body. He's shown the capacity to learn how to do new things and do it in the ring. Yeah. And I think that they'll come up with a game plan. They'll be able to make adjustments in the fight. And what makes it fascinating is we've seen the same thing from Tyson. Tyson can come up with a game plan and make adjustments in the fight.
Yeah.
So, I don't like Tyson to the body. I think he's got great powers of recuperation when he gets put down on the canvas. But I'm not so sure that he can. I mean, I don't know anybody can really take it to the body anyway. But I think that's it's a big target, isn't it? Tyson's body.
It's a big target. Tyson's body. Iron Kong. It's a big target. The body of Tyson.
Hey man, I mean, like everybody said before me, you know what I'm saying? Just get in and work that fat body, right? Look, Anthony Joshua ain't no dummy, man. You can't go head hunting on a man that's about 3 inches taller than you or whatever. How tall is Tyson Fury? Like 6'8"?
6'9".
6'9". Joshua.
I want to see this in the ring, because when you see Wilder and Tyson stood next to each other, I'm a bit suspicious Tyson's actually closer to 6'8".
It could be.
And when I seen AJ stood next to people who were supposed to be 6'6", he tends to have a little bit on them. Okay. So I don't think the height difference is going to be as much as people think it is.
So that's like one of these basketball things where they say, he's like, he's 7 feet tall, but he's really like 6'7". So so what I'm saying is, man, like I think it was John who said, man, work the body, beat the body, right? Don't bother try to go head hunting on a man that's got you by maybe 2 inches, and he has pretty good head movement for somebody that tall. So what's sad is that I can give Tyson Fury his props, because I think Tyson Fury, I love to see Tyson Fury fight. I don't mind his back foot fighting. That's me. Like I don't mind his back foot fighting.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like these people, like they have to come here and try and completely discredit Anthony Joshua. But I don't try and discredit Tyson Fury. What I do think is that my guy Oluwafemi is going to stop Tyson Fury within 6 rounds by beating that body. You understand me? And bringing the head down. And you already know what happens when the head comes down. Ask Kubrat Puller about that. And with that, Mr. Raphie, I'm going to listen in the chat. Peace out, John Dealey.
Speak to you soon, Iron Kong.
Yeah, man, easy now.
100%. That was the Iron Kong going out there in the sunny Caribbean. So out goes Iron Kong, and in comes Big Texas, Phil Walker. Phil Walker, how do you do?
Man, I'm doing wonderful, man. I'm doing wonderful. Just tuning in, listening to the show, man. You guys are doing a good job. Helping my afternoon go by pretty well. I know it's probably about 10, 11 o'clock out there in the UK.
11:30.
So 11:30. So there you go. So
yeah, man. Man. Come on in, Phil. I know you got some things to say, man. Come on in. Spit that fire. Come on, spit them bullets. Spit them bullets.
Hey, well, look. Well, man, I want to congratulate Anthony Joshua on his win this weekend. 100. Also want to congratulate Shakur Stevenson.
100.
That was that was 2 of the fights that I was mostly interested in this weekend.
Yeah.
But just to kind of talk about Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, man, these two guys to me are without a doubt the two best heavyweights in the world. And when you really, match them up against one another and you just kind of look at the skill set that each one of them possess, I think they both can play to each other's weaknesses. You understand what I'm saying? I think Tyson Fury moves, of course, really, really well. I don't think Joshua is real good with lateral movement, stuff like that. I think Tyson Fury has a really good jab. But I think Tyson Fury is not very good if you can get inside of his range. The only issue with that is I've tend to see AJ also struggle fighting guys inside. A lot of times when you go back and you look at his fights, when he gets caught up in exchanges, Andy Ruiz, Alexander Povetkin, these guys get inside of Anthony Joshua. And, when they start banging, a lot of times that's when he gets caught. But he does have a massive, massive uppercut, as we seen this weekend. So I think that could play to his advantage because that is a punch that he really likes. And quite frankly, that's a punch that I think he could hit Tyson Fury with if he does get inside of him. So, for me, AJ has gotten better at some things. I think his head movement has gotten a lot better. I think he's boxing more. I think he's being more methodical and he's thinking his way through 12 rounds. You understand what I'm saying? He's setting up a punch in the, let's say, the seventh round, but he's been setting it up since the third round. You understand what I'm saying? So I do think he's still a young fighter, and he's doing a lot of things that's preparing him to have longevity in the heavyweight division. With that being said, he also has, to me, the best resume within the division, without a doubt. But resume doesn't really tell the whole story, I don't think, because I still think Tyson Fury is one of the best heavyweights in the world. I just hope these guys could get down for a undisputed. And man, I know it's going to be a massive, massive fight. I know Tyson Fury has consistently been training, which I'm proud of him for that. He hadn't gone off the deep end yet, so that's a big time plus for him. Because you never know what you're gonna get from Fury. But him staying focused and seeing a guy like Anthony Joshua in his sights, I think that may be some kind of motivation for him. I don't think he's very motivated to fight Deontay Wilder for a third time, and that's just the truth of the matter for me. Now at the end of the day, I think if anybody can get something done, it's going to be Mr. Eddie Hearn. You understand what I'm saying?
Let me stop you there, Phil. Remember what you're going to say. Remember what you're going to say. I just need to come in here to show you some irony. Ruben Guerrero writes, Fury can always target the roid gut. Now, let me pause. Let me pause for a second. Ruben, out of the two guys, who was it? One of them tested positive for steroids. Now, please write in the chat, out of the two guys, which one of them tested positive for steroid use? Okay, back to you, Phil.
Yeah, man. I think if anyone can make everybody happy in this scenario, I think Eddie Hearn is the guy that can do it. I got a great deal of respect for Eddie, man. He does really good job for his fighters. He's good for boxing, whether you like him, dislike him. He takes care of his fighters, man, and he puts on good production. So, like I said, I think if anybody can get it done, he'll smooth things over and make everybody happy. Between him and Bob Arum, that's a rivalry within itself. That's going to be pretty entertaining as well, outside of Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury talking trash to one another. I think it's going to be something that's going to be massive for boxing, man. We haven't had an undisputed champ in a long time, and it's something that we need right now, something that boxing needs. A massive, massive fight, and you got two guys coming out of the UK. Shouts out to the UK, man. Two guys coming out of the UK, and they're going to be fighting for undisputed. The last undisputed champion was out of the UK. So, you guys are getting it done. You understand what I'm saying? We definitely need to step our game up, and hopefully we got some youngsters that's gonna do that for us. And again, man, look, I don't know who put the roid comment in the chat, but that's just ridiculous, man. I mean, at the end of the day, man, look, we got this brother out here, Anthony Joshua, man, and he's doing everything right. He's winning. He's staying out of trouble. He's being responsible. He's living boxing. He's good for boxing. Let's not, get sidetracked with foolishness that's just don't have anything to do with what he represents. Now, if he ever gets caught for it, then maybe you got a point. But right now, let's not throw salt. Let's not throw salt on a guy that's doing everything right, man.
Especially when you look past your guy who's a known and convicted steroid cheat, and then you go to the man who is not a convicted steroid cheat, and you point the finger at him when the man who is the steroid cheat is standing right in front of you. You're pushing him out. You're pushing him out to point the finger at somebody else. How ridiculous is that? Come on now.
That's ridiculous, man. Like I said, man, just respect what Anthony Joshua was doing right now for the sport of boxing. Respect him getting in the ring and competing at the highest level that he can possibly compete at. And at the end of the day, don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. If you're going
100%. Don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. And and also if you live in a glass house, you know what they say? Change your clothes in the basement.
Change your clothes in the
basement. John D. Lee. John D. Lee. Yeah, man. John D. Lee. We're coming close of the Anthony Joshua topics, but I'll let you say whatever is on your mind about Joshua that we haven't covered.
Just the lack of credit he's getting, really. That's the thing that bothers me the most. It's like we've got a guy here who is open about his shortcomings. He made a video about why he lost to Andy Ruiz and put it out there on his own channel. He broke it down.
Yeah.
I
saw that.
Exactly. And it's like if you asked Anthony Joshua how he did against Pulev, he'd probably tell you what he did wrong. I can find things that he could do better. But
he's the unified champ. He's the guy. He's got 5.
I came on this channel. After Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder and said what a good performance it was.
Yeah.
Now I can tell you what Tyson did wrong in that fight. Because I think his punch delivery is horrible.
Yeah.
Technically, he doesn't generate much rotation. It's still sloppy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of improvement there if he's going to be on his front foot. But I didn't come on here talking about it after he beat Deontay Wilder. I gave him his credit.
Yeah.
And I don't get why. We saw AJ changing levels. We saw him doing feints. We saw him slipping jabs.
Yeah.
People are saying he's only got the uppercut. Well, the last time I checked, it was a straight right down the pipe that put Pulev away.
Woo.
And the accuracy of it was pretty nice.
Woo! What a shot! What a shot!
It was, and he's done that before. He did it to Charles Martin.
Yeah, it was no fluke. That's something he has in his repertoire.
Charles Martin, just to show you that it wasn't a fluke.
But he's got a left hook too.
The only person who's ever put Andrew Ruiz down is AJ, and he did it with a left hook. So there's 3 punches.
Thank you.
And his jab, he looks like he's working on making it better.
Yeah, definitely. Big time.
So
the thing is, Joshua's always fighting top 10 guys. He's always fighting top 10 guys time after time after time. He's not getting clown fights. He can't take a clown fight like the other guys. Think
about it, Raphie, though. Not only is he taking on these top fights, he's learning in the ring and trying to implement new things in the ring.
Yeah. Against top guys.
Yeah. Now Phil knows boxing. Phil's seen how he's worked on his footwork and how that's getting better.
Yeah.
It's like nobody's saying he's got better footwork than Tyson Fury. No one's saying he's got better ring IQ.
Yeah.
But is anyone seriously trying to say that Tyson Fury's got better power than AJ?
Well, these crazy fanboys, they'll come up with anything. They'll say that they'll point the finger, they'll point the finger. Joshua and he's the steroid guy when they push aside Tyson Fury, who's a convicted steroid user. That's how ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not getting at Ruben because Ruben follows me on Twitter and retweets my shiznicks. So I appreciate him. I appreciate him. But we got to call a spade a spade.
Just straight down the line. That's all it is.
We got to call a spade a spade.
Does Tyson throw combinations as well as AJ? They've got different attributes of different fighters.
Wild Soul, $5 coming in. Much appreciation. He says Tyson Fury will be KO'd by Joshua. Mark my words. Sorry about that, John. Much appreciation. Okay. Wild Soul. Thank you. Carry on, John.
Well, all I'm saying is they've got different attributes that both do things that the other one can maybe do, but not as well.
Yeah.
AJ has got better combination throwing. I think he throws better punches on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Tyson can do those things.
Yeah.
Tyson's got a better back foot game than AJ. He's probably got a better jab as well. Yeah. But AJ can do that as well. And that's what makes it such an interesting fight.
Absolutely. 100%. Phil Walker, you were just about to come in.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing, man. I'll be honest with you. I like Anthony Joshua. And to me, the most improvement that I've seen him do, honestly, is since the Andy Ruiz fight, is he seems a lot more patient now, right? I think he cares less about how he wins, and it's more like, I just need to win. You understand what I'm saying? And to me, that's a big deal to me, right? Because for a minute, I thought he kind of was wanting to go in, put on a great performance, which he still wants to put on a great performance, but he's not going to do it at the detriment of putting himself in any kind of danger, right? Mm. So I think, the thing that's been overlooked is that we all know that he can fight. We all know that he has power, right? But you can see subtle differences in him trying to get better, right? Mm. So for me, as somebody that's on the level that he is, has he even reached his full potential? That's kind of the way I think about it, right? Mm. And when I see him improving on certain aspects of his game, I tell myself, well, I think he still has room to improve there. But I can see it's much more improvement than the last time he got into the ring. So to me, his patience and just willing to recognize, because this is important, because a lot of fighters create an identity for themselves and they get stuck in a box. You understand what I'm saying? And they don't recognize what their flaws are. You understand? So I think AJ right now at this point in his career, especially after the Ruiz loss, is transitioning into a phase where he knows what he needs to work on. And you can tell when he's in training camp, these are the things that he's focused on, getting better, because he knows, like I said, if he wants to have longevity in this game, he knows that he needs to sharpen up that stuff right there. He's not putting himself in the box. I think the most important thing is he's not creating a complete identity for himself. He would like his identity to be, I can win any way I need to win, whether I need to stop the guy or whether I need to box the guy, whether I need to fight at mid-range, long range, inside. And I think this is the part where he's transitioning to create these opportunities in his game. And in order to do that, you have to realize that it is opportunities to make the corrections. And I think that's what he's doing. You can get on here and you can hate, man. But at the end of the day, no box is perfect. We always can pick something out that he doesn't do well. But guess what? He won this weekend. Give the man his just due. He don't need to hear from us what he needs to work on. You understand what I'm saying? He knows what he needs to work on. So hey, man, give the man his respect, and that's just the end of it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I think with that, I don't think there's anything else I want to cover on the Joshua thing. I think I've missed out. Anybody who hasn't seen my video on the best heavyweight right now, statistics, it is Tyson Fury has fought one person in the current Ring Magazine top 10 heavyweight boxers. That's uno. Deontay Wilder has fought two people currently ranked in the top 10 of the Ring Magazine heavyweight rankings. That's two, duo. And Anthony Joshua has fought 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 people, 5 heavyweight boxers who are currently ranked in the Ring Magazine top 10. And to further clarify, Tyson Fury has fought approximately one heavyweight. What is it? One top 10 heavyweight. One top 10 heavyweight in the last 4 years. Okay, so anybody trying to tell me that Tyson Fury is the best, I'm sorry. You can't say a win over Vlad 5 years ago makes him the best. It's what have you done? What have you done? Not even lately, but in the last few years, you fought approximately one heavyweight who was consensus ranked in the top 10. And that, my friends, is a very telling statistic. Does anybody want to come in on that?
Well, I just wanted to come in on what Phil said about patience.
Yeah.
Because I've actually mentioned that on a different platform. And people are viewing AJ's patience as hesitancy and fear and being gun shy. And it's like, well, I've seen AJ get hurt by Dillian White, Vladimir Klitschko, Povetkin, and Andy Ruiz when he's come charging in. And a large part of why those punches were so hurtful to him was because he put his own weight into the punch by charging in. We've now seen him correct this mistake, and all of a sudden he's gun shy. A man that stood in the pocket, and didn't he throw 4 consecutive uppercuts?
Yes.
What kind of gun shy guy who's scared to exchange in the pocket throws 4 uppercuts
in the pocket?
Because he doesn't have a long range uppercut anyway. He gets in close when he throws them.
Up close and personal.
So what Phil's talking about, this patience, that's what he's had the most criticism for. And I agree with Phil. I think it's going to be his biggest strength, because look at how devastating that knockout was of Pulev when it came.
It's beautiful. There was a few knockouts. He knocked him out a few times in that fight.
Well, the one where he actually couldn't beat the count. And I don't think he could have beaten the count from that right hand.
That was nice. That was
whereas, you know, the knockdowns is turning your back. There's that argument that, you know, the fight should have been stopped then.
Yes.
But irrespective of that, when it didn't get stopped then, instead of getting a rush of blood, charging in and opening himself up to getting caught and helping the person by running onto the punch, he reset himself, went about his work, methodically broke him down and took him out in amazing style. And it was the patience that Phil's talking about that facilitated this.
That reset, man. When he reset himself, when he couldn't get the guy out of there, I said, okay, now he's learning from his mistakes. That was like, that to me, that was like, okay, he knows that he could get this guy out of here, but right now it's just not the right time. Let me be a little bit more patient, and I'll take him out a little bit later. That was important to me. I was like, man, see, because he should have did that same thing against Andy Ruiz when he couldn't get him out. And we made him see a different result.
Yeah,
exactly. And we've got people running around saying that's proof that AJ is fragile.
Mad.
Yeah, I was just about to say what Phil said. It's about time people recognize it as improvement instead of saying he's got demons from the Ruiz fight. No, he's improved. He's learned. That's what happens if you lose something, or if you fail at something, you learn from your failure, from what you did wrong. And that's exactly. And I've seen so many journalists and say, oh, he's still got demons. He's got this. No, he's learned, because if he went in there and did the same thing and got knocked out by Pulev after dropping Pulev and went in recklessly and wasn't patient and got dropped by Pulev, everyone would say, I can't believe Joshua didn't learn from the Ruiz fight, and he'd have got slated for not learning.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the saying is? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame
Fool me twice. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And combat ethics says Fury would have stopped Pulev inside 3 to be. Well, why didn't he fight him then? Why has he been fighting bombs instead of?
When has Fury stopped anybody
This is what.
When has Fury actually stopped somebody in 3? Was it Tom?
When this is where
people in 3. When do people stop Fury? When does Fury stop people in 3
I
rounds?
think he managed to do it with Tom Schwartz.
Tom Schwartz, you can't even talk about Tom Schwartz.
This is where it starts. Now Pulev.
It is.
now Pulev is getting. No, Fury would have done him in 3. Why is Pulev now a bum? Why is he now? Well, because AJ stopped him in 9. Fury would have done it in 3. AJ couldn't do it with 3 and in 3, and Pulev was running, like literally turned his back and ran, like he wanted to go more. So,
I'm gonna tell you this right here. If those ropes would have been in the way, I think Pulev would have. No, seriously. When he got to the rope, he looked right, he looked left. He was like, "Oh my God, where am I? I need to get out of here." Really, seriously. They should have stopped.
Yeah, they should have stopped it. It should have been stopped.
Iron Kong responds to the previous statement about Pulev. About what did he say? Fury would have stopped Pulev in 3. Iron Kong responds. Tyson Fury couldn't stop a 41 Cephas Fury. What the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about?
Now, I will say this right here. I do think Tyson Fury and AJ is a 50-50 fight.
Yeah,
I just think
I'm the same.
Yeah, so I just think it just really depends on but this is the only thing right here though, right? And as I've mentioned, I just think that I don't know how much improving Tyson Fury can do, honestly. Although I do like the fact that he switched up his style in the second fight with Deontay Wilder. But I mean, let's be honest about this. Anybody that's been watching Deontay Wilder know that if you put him on his back foot, you can beat him. It's just not getting hit in the face in the process, right? So, I mean, Tyson Fury could have done that without going to Sugar Hill or anybody else because he has that skill set. So when I think about Fury, I don't know how much more is available in the tank for him to improve versus with AJ. I think it's a lot more improving that he can do. And at this point, it's still a 50-50 fight. I just think that Fury has more of a edge as far as just the educational piece of boxing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
The ring generalship. And that's about it. That's really the only thing I can see that's in his face. The IQ. But that is all. At that point, you know, it's 50-50, man. We just gonna have to see who's the best on that night, man. Honestly, man, I can't wait because it's gonna be a hell of a fight.
And I've always said this about this is why I always picked AJ to beat Wilder, because AJ will put Wilder on his back foot. Wilder has not got a back foot game at all. Like it's non-existent. It is every time he's been, and the only thing that he's got away with it is when he has been put on the back foot, he's launched his right hand and someone's just walked into it and he's caught him. But every time he gets outboxed on the back foot constantly, near enough every fight, if you watch the Deontay Wilder fight, every time he's losing a fight, it's because he's getting put on the back foot. He's getting outboxed and put on the back foot. And he, don't get me wrong, he does time the right hand, but against a guy like Fury, who is, well, what did we say, 6'9", 6'8", 6'9", it's a lot harder for him to do that. Even when he dropped Fury in the last round, it wasn't really the right hand what got Fury. Like Fury went stumbling a bit, but it was the left hand, the left hook, when he caught him on the way down, what put Fury down and a bit more dazed than anything. I think if it was just the right hand, Fury was getting up almost straight away. It was the left hook what caught him, which Fury partially rode the left hook at the same time.
Yeah.
But
that was pretty accurate.
Yeah. And Wilder's always struggled on the back foot. So don't get me wrong, I didn't think Fury could fight like that against Wilder. I didn't. I give him so much credit for actually doing it because I didn't believe he could do it.
Yeah.
So the fact that he managed to do it, and it proved that someone with less power than a lot of heavyweights, because Fury isn't one of the top punchers in the heavyweight division either.
Certainly not.
Let's get that right. He's not one of the top punchers in the heavyweight division. So Wilder would struggle a lot against a few guys with power who manages to put them on the back foot if they can't get hit with the right hand.
Yeah.
Well, this is the one thing I could tell you about Deontay Wilder, right? You see, if historically you go back and you look at Deontay Wilder's fight, he's always been a longer, rangier guy. Okay.
Yep.
See, when he fought against Tyson Fury, that wasn't so much the case. He was a smaller man in every aspect, legs, wingspan, everything. So if you can smother Deontay Wilder's power, you have a good chance of beating him. You can fight him at the mid-range, and you wouldn't have any issue with him because he generates all his power at the end of his punches. And when you're a longer, rangier guy, it's a lot easier for him to fight like that. Where he runs into a brick wall is because now he's fighting against a guy in Tyson Fury that, guess what? He's a lot more rangier than you are. So that baloney defense, when you just can take a step back and the guy's out of your range, well, you're taking a step back, and if Fury's taking a step forward, he's punching you in your face. You understand what I'm saying? So you're not the longer guy, you're not the rangier guy, and that is a detriment to you. Because if you can smother Deontay Wilder's punches, okay, if he can't fully extend, I think you kill his game all around. And that's just my opinion because he doesn't have very good footwork. I mean, some people may say he's athletic. I don't know. But if you can just get inside of him, fight him at mid-range, and don't get caught at the end of one of his shots, I think a lot of guys can have that success against Deontay Wilder.
Okay. And it's been an action-packed show. But I think we have chopped it up. I had more topics to do, but I'll just make videos of those. But I will touch on, since we got the American Phil in here, I will touch on the Shakur Stevenson fight. Phil, you want to tell us about it? Did you watch that fight?
Of course, man. Shakur is actually right now a guy who his hometown now is in Houston, Texas. I'm here in Houston, man. I got nothing but love for Shakur. I think right now he's a young guy. He's young in the game, but for me, he does things in the ring that I don't even see veterans do. Man, he's so poised. I mean, he's patient. He fights at range. He can fight inside. He goes to the body. He goes to the head. I mean, this guy by far to me is the most impressive guy coming out of his generation. Okay, when I just look at overall skill, I think probably in the next 2 years he's going to be for sure in the top 5, top 3 pound for pound if he keeps going the way that he's going. Because although I think he's super good, I still think he has some things that he needs to improve on. He's not a real big puncher. I think he can get a lot stronger as far as that's concerned. But the key is he has good people around him. Okay, he has people around him that believe in him, that is teaching him the way as far as making boxing a lifestyle. So it's a temporary sacrifice for a eternity of legacy. You can have a long life legacy for a temporary career in boxing. You take 10, 12 years, and your legacy can live on with your kids and your kids' kids. So I think he realizes that, and he's putting in the work, man. He's putting in the work, and he's putting people around him that care about him, inside the ring, outside the ring. And I can't wait to see what the future has in store for this guy. He wants the champion. He wants Warrington next. That's who he wants. I hope that's what he gets. If not, just go ahead, try to get for a chat in there. But I think he's a young, promising talent, and he's not scared to take those big steps. He believes in himself. So, shouts out to Shakur Stevenson, man. Keep doing what you're doing, and I appreciate what you bring to boxing.
Yeah. So, was it a boring fight?
No, I don't think it was a boring fight.
I already won every round because I haven't watched it, but I looked at some of the scoring, and it was like it appears he won every single round.
Yes, he absolutely.
I heard it was boring. I heard it was a boring fight.
If you're a fan of the sweet science,
Yeah.
if you're a fan of
if I'm a fan of the sweet science, I want to see guys stopped. I want to see them. I want to see guys stopped. I want to like Sugar Ray Leonard. He had the sweet science, but he stopped guys. You know what I'm saying? So is there going forward? Is there going to be a problem where Shakur Stevenson is a sweet science guy who can't stop people? Is that what we're looking at? Is that what the future holds?
No, I mean he's got I think close to 70% knockout ratio. I mean,
okay,
yeah,
but I mean the higher you get, the higher you get in the rankings, the tougher it gets.
You know, look, at the end of the day, man, my philosophy is I don't care how you win, you just need to win. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what we say about him. If he can't stop guys, then that's fine. As long as he comes out of there unscathed and the W, I think that's all he and his team cares about. But yeah, everybody wants to see guys get stopped. Yeah, of course.
I'm with Phil on that one though, because I like Devin Haney, and he don't seem to have power for shit at the elite level at lightweight, but the guy outboxes people, and I actually enjoy watching someone break someone down. Even if the knockout doesn't come, it doesn't really faze me as long as they're showing how talented they are. They're doing things in there the other guy cannot stop them from doing. Some guys are hard to stop. Sometimes you might be fighting someone saying you should stop him really, but it might just be that one fight they come in there and they're determined, I ain't getting stopped today. I'm not getting stopped today. So sometimes you just got to break them down, because I would rather a guy go in there and break them down and not force a stoppage and get hurt in the process and getting hit a lot in the process, instead of just box and do what you do and get your win and move on. Because today might not be your day to knock him out.
Yeah.
Your next fight might be the fight where you can knock somebody out. You're not always going to get knockouts in this game. You're not always going to get them, and some days you just got to outbox them and show your true class. And some days you'll catch someone and that's it.
Yeah. Yes. I'm not going to really talk about the American scene. John D. Lee. I'm not really going to talk about the American scene too much, because we got the Rick Glazer coming on Wednesday, so I'll go through all the American fights with Rick on Wednesday. But John D. Lee, you want to say anything about the Shakur Stevenson?
I haven't watched it yet, Raphie.
I haven't watched it.
Will watch it.
Yeah, I may watch it. Probably not.
The only thing I would agree with what Phil and Eric are saying.
Yeah,
particularly when you're not a heavyweight.
Yeah.
I see heavyweight boxing as a separate thing. The lighter guys, they just don't hit as hard anyway. And if you can't box to a decision and get a points win at the lighter weights, you're going to struggle. Even at middleweight. I mean, look at Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson had a good knockout ratio, but he couldn't really knock out Jake, could he? And those were his best fights.
Yeah.
Your guy.
My guy.
Put him together. Hagler couldn't get knocked out by Leonard.
Hey, Leonard couldn't knock out Hagler.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He's not going to knock out Hagler. Hagler's my guy. He's not going to knock out my guy.
Your guy, Hagler, couldn't get knocked out.
Yeah.
By Leonard.
No. Leonard ain't going to knock out Hagler. No way.
No, but Leonard was a great boxer.
He was a great boxer.
Yeah.
He was a great boxer.
So you've got to be able to win both ways, really.
Yeah, you got to be able to win both ways. But
yeah, Hagler's my guy too. I love Hagler.
Absolutely.
I love the Marvelous one as well.
Marvelous Hagler. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. I could sit down and watch his fights all damn night.
But you know, you mentioned Leonard, so that's why I did that flip on you.
Well, Leonard was my favorite before he beat Hagler, and then I thought, no, horrible. No, I couldn't take it. It was horrible. I still haven't forgiven Leonard. I'll never forgive Leonard for messing around Hagler, tricking him, inviting him to a big party where Hagler thought they were going to announce the fight, and then Leonard announced that he was retiring. I'll never forgive that duplicity, the trickery. Just imagine how you'd feel. You put your best tuxedo on, probably go out and buy a new suit. You know what I'm saying? Probably take your girl with you. Leave the missus at home. I'm just joking, folks. I'm just joking.
No, you're not. No, you're not. No,
I'm just joking. You know,
I'm just trying to get us all in trouble.
Yeah, I'm a good Mormon boy with 7 wives. So okay. So guys, listen. I got lots of subjects left, but I don't like to keep these things running too long. I like it to be where people can just tune in and watch the whole damn thing. I don't want to go no long time. This is like the outer edges of it, but it was entertaining conversation. It was entertaining conversation, and all the topics that I didn't cover, I'll cover them in videos over the next couple of days. And also, of course, we got the Rick Glazer in on the Wednesday. So we're going to talk about all the American fights and more. Cliff Bailey up in the building. Tucker Khan was out of his depth when put on the back foot. Stevenson did a good job neutralizing him. I will watch a few rounds of that fight. But the highest point of the art form, regardless of weight, I put it to each one of you that the highest point of the art form is when you have the sweet science and you have that knockout capability in almost every fight. So let's go around the table. Phil Walker.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you possess both attributes, I think that's what creates a legacy like no other. You know, I mean, I think when I think of guys like that, I mean, it's once in a lifetime kind of style fighters. You understand what I'm saying? You know, when you run across a guy that's able to do both, then you realize that this guy is a transcending talent. You dig what I'm saying? But most of the time, traditionally, you either lean more so towards one than the other traditionally, you know. And for me, if you're fortunate enough to be able to do both, then you are, like I said, a transcendent talent. So yeah, absolutely, man. That is the highest honor of the sweet science, being able to do both. And that takes a lifetime of dedication. You know, let's start
100%. So let's go around the table and have people say their good nights, their observations, their thoughts, and we'll do that one by one. Eric ERF Boxing, let's start with you.
Yeah, AJ Fury, hopefully they'll probably have one more fight each, and then hopefully by middle of next year, late next year, we get that super fight for all the belts. I personally think it's a 50-50 fight. If you're picking Fury, you probably have your reason. You definitely have your reasons. If you're picking AJ, there's definitely reasons there. Anybody that thinks it's an easy fight either way, you're somewhat deluded, in my opinion.
What did you say was the last sentence? What was the last sentence?
What? Somewhat deluded.
If you think it's an easy fight?
If they think it's an easy fight either way.
Yeah, totally.
If you think Joshua's gonna go in there and just knock Fury out and Fury ain't gonna have nothing to say about it, then you're mistaken. If you think Fury's just gonna box on the outside or even come forward and knock Joshua out in 3 or 4 rounds, you're mistaken. I think this fight will be a fiddly fight at first, and then in the middle rounds is where you're going to get your action. And whoever implements their game plan in the middle rounds, there's your winner.
Awesome. Okay, that was ERF Boxing. Eric, thanks for jumping on, mate. Always good to have your input. Okay, and that was ERF Boxing. And then we go to Phil Walker. Phil Walker, your final words, observations of the weekend, thoughts, hopes, dreams.
Well, man, I tell you what, man. Shout out to everybody who stepped into the ring this weekend, winners and losers. It was a great weekend of boxing. I mean, absolutely marvelous weekend of boxing. You know, just to comment again on the Fury and AJ fight. I hope it happens real soon. I do want to see Undisputed And it's a 50-50 fight, man. You know, I don't have any horse in the race, so I'm gonna let you UK fans tear each other to shreds on that one. I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yo, Phil, my defense is impeccable, my good man. My defense is impeccable. I'm staying up here in Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio Towers.
Hey, I'm gonna let you UK fans tear each other to shreds.
I'm staying safe. I'm up here in the towers.
Hey, I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna just look and I'm gonna be in my tower too, looking down. I'm gonna say, woo, that's going down over there. But yeah, man, it's a 50-50 fight, man. I'm excited, man. Boxing is giving us a great 2020 considering the circumstances. Let me say that for sure. I think we've had a lot of things, a lot of good fights, a lot of things evolved in 2020. Considering everything that's going on, I think it's been a good year for boxing.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? And I think considering the circumstance, I think a lot of guys know that, tomorrow's not promised. You understand what I'm saying? So maybe this might, put some fire up underneath these cats to get some of these fights done a lot faster, because you don't know what tomorrow brings. So, I wanna say thank you for allowing me to come on the show, man. It's always a pleasure. Hey, man, and again, man, don't worry about it. Hey, look, UK boxing right now, as far as heavyweight's concerned, man, you guys sitting on the top, but hey, don't sleep on this American thing we got going over here now. It's gonna be a change of the guard real soon. Real soon.
We see about that. We gonna see about
We're gonna see, man. We're gonna see.
We gonna see. And there ain't no goats in Texas. Just remember that.
Hey, there you go. Hey, there you go with that stuff, man. You silly, man. I'm gonna holler at you, man. I appreciate you. Y'all take care.
Peace out. That was the Phil Walker. Always good to have Phil.
I'm not so sure about that GOAT statement, Raphie.
Who are you talking about? Errol Spence?
No.
I was gonna say.
No. I was gonna say I think there's quite a few Jamaicans there. So.
Yeah, okay. There's definitely some curry goat going on out there. They're killing the Jamaicans are killing the goats. The Jamaicans are killing the goats in Texas. Damn it!
They're breeding them. Right?
Oh dear, I don't know if that might be worse. But anyway, okay. So John Dealey, good of you to jump on. I know it's impacted your impact.
It's a conscious decision.
Well, there we go. Sometimes we have to make those sacrifices. Good of you.
You got to support people when they come in and they put a good performance, and everyone wants to tear them to pieces for it.
Well, I got a broad back, John. I got a broad back. I can take it.
Raphie,
today.
On a serious note,
it's
not a competitive fight. Why would everyone want to see it?
Right, exactly.
So I don't think we need to go any further than that. It's like arguing over who the number one is. I actually don't care because I think we're going to see the fight. And we're actually going to find out.
To all the panel, thanks for not having the fallacy doctor in the house. Hey, the fallacy doctor gives good entertainment, makes people pull their hair out, bang their heads.
I do have to turn it off sometimes, Raphie, when I'm listening.
Well, it's all pleasure and pain. You don't appreciate the pain.
I like him when he's talking about historical fighters.
Yeah.
But I think I've found the chink in his armor.
Yeah, Larry Holmes. He's a Larry Holmes.
He's a Larry Holmes fanboy.
Yeah.
He's the one.
We found the chink in your armor. We found the chink in your armor, Mr. Mushroom Eater.
Although, to be fair, I have Larry as my third all-time great heavyweight. So.
He's up there.
Well, I don't care where you put him, but he's got to be in the top 10.
He's up there.
He's got to be in the top 10.
Boom. Okay. And so, your final words, my friend. Yeah.
Final words. Just looking forward to next year. I'm optimistic we're going to start seeing fights for a change.
Yeah. Looks like.
And I think Tyson Fury is an excellent boxer, and whoever comes out on top is fair play.
Yeah, likewise. I'll echo those sentiments. John Daly, it's been a pleasure having you back on the evening show. It's been a while for those newcomers. John Daly was a regular fixture over here until his work pattern changed, and we don't see him much over here anymore. But so it's nice he would take some time out of his day and come join us on this special evening. John Daly, much appreciation. Have a good evening. Have a good day, and speak to you shortly.
Speak to you soon.
Excellent. So that was the John D. Lee. And we've covered it. Saif Bud up in the building. We've covered it. We've had a good one. It was a nice flow. It was a nice tempo. And yes. We've done it. What's there left for me to say? I didn't cover all the topics that I had on my list, but I just roll with this. The conversation was smooth and flowing. Thanks for everybody with your contributions in the chat. Thanks for everybody who jumped on the panel. Who was that? I think it was what's the order? Let's see if let's check my memory. Let's see if I can do this. It was the John Daly. Then it was the Big Boys Boxing. Then it was the Iron Kong. And then it was the Phil Walker. Is that the order? Is that the sequence? Did I miss anybody? The Phil Walker. Eric. Name. I always miss somebody. Eric, ERF Boxing. Peace out. Bedtime. John is always a quality pundit. Absolute more. And of course, the Phil Walker. The Phil Walker jumped on too. Okay, check out my lyrics. Check out my melody. Okay, so thank you to everybody who jumped on. Thank you for everybody who came up in the chat. Thank you for everybody who was that? That was the Wild Soul, I think, who gave the super chat. Super chat dominator, much appreciation. And earlier on, I think it was the Pablo. Yeah, it was the Pablo Diablo who was nice enough to make the chat litty. What's going on here? Peace to all. Always good to have. Always glad to hear from Phil. Absolute more. And everybody. It's always good to hear from everybody who jumped on. Okay, folks. What else is there for me to say? Remember to tune in if you so wish on Wednesday when we have the Rick Glazer up in the building. People have been asking me, and the Marla up in here. People have been asking me when we're gonna get Pat Barrett back on. But absolutely, Pat Barrett has agreed to come back on. We're gonna schedule him in, get the schedule nice, get the schedule right, and we're gonna have a part 2, no doubt about it. Okay, so in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed yourself. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and absolutely hit that share button and share my shizzle, and let's fertilize the earth. Damn, fluffing my lines. It's the Raphie Dawkins, it's the Combat Radio, it's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the comments, it's the shares, and it's the hitting that bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. Don't forget about the live show, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. UK time. And that's it. The only thing left for me to say is blessed.